Trusty, Nawrocki, Sloop, Bernardo, McGregor, McCowan, Yang, Forrest and Kenny. So it is a under-strength Celtic side in many parts of it, but it's still a talented Celtic side, and it is the visitors who kick off in the Granite City sunshine, going left to right, wearing the green and white hoop shirts. Aberdeen all in red, as that is passed back to Sinisalo, and now with Nawrocki. And no surprise, Peter Grant, that Brendan Rodgers has made that host of alterations to the team. Much bigger fish to fry coming down the road.
Yes, but you always know the expectation at Celtic Football Club. You've got to win every game you play in, and that's not going to change. You can see that's why he's probably played Callum McGregor, when it's easy to leave Callum out. He knows he's got to lead the troops round about it. There's changes in it. I look from middle to front, I think no problem. The back line is going to be interesting because there's a lot of changes there, how Aberdeen play against it, because I think Aberdeen should ask Celtic some questions. I think that's when they've struggled a little bit at times, because the full-backs push right in, and by having a new centre-back pairing, that's where maybe they could ask some questions of Celtic. So it'll be interesting to see how Aberdeen do.
We shall see. Alfie Dorrington on the ball, on loan from Spurs, goes back to Mitov. Dorrington missed the defeat at Ibrox at the weekend through illness as Keskinen tries to get in, but Ralston's there to close the door, and he passes back to Sinisalo. The Celtic players all wearing black armbands tonight in memory of their former chairman Jack McGinn, who, as we heard earlier, has sadly passed away. As Andy Palaversa goes long looking for Sinisalo, or rather Keskinen. Sinisalo, his countryman, came to the edge of his box, but Ralston's there to pick up on the 18-yard line. Now it's with Bernardo, who gets it over on the far side, and Yang, who started out on the left, is brought unceremoniously to the deck by Alfie Dorrington, and the Aberdeen centre-back is going to go into the book for that. The ref is Stephen McLean, who's making his 6th trip here this season as referee, and the Aberdeen centre-back is on a yellow card inside the opening, not even 2 minutes.
No, thoroughly deserved. It was great play with Celtic. Tony Ralston does terrific, because it's a long ball and I thought it was going to cause a problem with Keskinen getting in. He defended it very well, but then put it out to Yang, and Yang set it off, then went again, then he got there before Dorrington. And I've always said that young boys come up from England. I've seen Dorrington a lot down in England, and I just thought the pace of the Scottish game maybe catch him out at times, and that's exactly what happened there with Yang.
He's actually looked quite good as the longer his loan spell has gone on. Yeah. He's looked more settled, but yeah, he was caught out there. He's on a card for a reckless challenge on Yang over on that far side. Forrest has started on the right for Celtic, with Yang over on the left, as Nawrocki picks up and then squares it to Trusty. It's Trusty who's had to make do with a place on the bench recently, with Liam Scales taking his place, albeit those two played together at the weekend. Hibs, by the way, 2-0 up now. Kukarevich has scored. St Mirren 0, Hibs 2 in Paisley. So it looks like it doesn't matter what Aberdeen do here tonight. Third place is going to be gone, unless there's a big comeback by St Mirren in that game in Renfrewshire. It is Sloop on the ball for Celtic, charging across the halfway line over on that south stand left side to Bernardo. Gets back to Sloop, left hand side of the Aberdeen box, slow ball across. Clarkson's there to sweep it clear out to the far side for Morris, who is challenged by Bernardo, and out for an Aberdeen throw-in level with the edge of the D of their own box. 3.5 in, 0-0.
It's interesting to see what Celtic are trying to do. They're trying to play the two wider midfield players a little bit higher than Aberdeen's midfield, so they can't press them. But Johnny Kenny, through his inexperience, he's coming short then, so it's causing a problem for Celtic with nowhere to go, so they end up by playing too many square passes.
Bad news for St Johnstone. A Barry Douglas own goal has them behind at Tynecastle against Hearts, as Forrest comes towards the edge of the Aberdeen box, pokes it to the left for Sloop, and then out to Yang, level with the Aberdeen penalty spot on the left hand side of the box, finds Sloop in field. Now McGregor turns it back to Trusty. Much changed Celtic, but they are dominating possession as usual. Ralston picks up at the right angle of the area, side football back to McGregor, who finds Mike Nawrocki and then rolls it forward to Bernardo. Then McGregor, left-footed ball, first time out to Forrest, right-footed ball into the box. Kenny's the target, cleared by Dorrington. Nisbet controls it, facing his own goal though. Palaversa helps him out and digs it clear into the Celtic half, where Nawrocki gets onto it and finds McGregor. All those changes for Celtic, Peter, but they've settled very quickly here.
Yeah, they've moved the ball very quickly, as you say, from side to side, moving Aberdeen round about. Aberdeen are trying. The two strikers are working hard. One to nullify Callum McGregor, then put pressure further up the pitch on the other centre back, but it leaves spaces.
Yeah, here's a chance. McCowan's found Ralston. It's a good ball, and Yang's header's over the bar. It's an excellent delivery by Tony Ralston. He found himself in an excellent position on this near side. We have seen the man who commands the right back position for Celtic, normally Alistair Johnston, attack all season long. He's one of the top assisters in the country, but Ralston there, that's classic Johnston, isn't it, in that position?
Yeah, listen, I think Tony does it exceptionally well. I think because he goes on the outside more, he's more like an overlapper than an underlapper, and that gives him more opportunities to cross. I think he'll be just a little bit disappointed, think there was maybe too much height on the ball, because I thought there was a big area for to hit Yang with. So Yang was just stretching for all the time, but it was a good opportunity for Celtic. They were disappointed they never made more of it.
The two Hibs goals tonight, incidentally, assisted by Junior Hoylett, who was deemed surplus to requirements here almost a year ago. He set up Boyle and Kuharevich, and Hibs lead St Mirren 2-0, as I said. In the bottom six, Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0. Saints still very much threatened by relegation, looking to just keep it alive going into the final weekend of the campaign, but they're 3 points off Ross County as it stands coming into tonight. As McGregor picks up and gets it back to Trusty, albeit always a difficult fixture, that one, for St Johnstone, given they've lost the last 9 against Hearts in succession. Here's Nawrocki rolling it back to Sinisalo at the edge of his box. He's under pressure there, and a little bit fortunate because his fellow Finn Keskinen just about nicked it off him when he wasn't looking what was going on behind him, the edge of his own area. Celtic get it away, it's out towards Yang, who slips, and Jensen's onto it, having displaced Nicky Devlin in the starting 11 for Aberdeen. Jensen back to Dorrington, who then finds Mitov on his penalty spot, and he squares it to Canuster on this near side. Long ball with the left foot was straight through to Nawrocki, who chests it down for McGregor. Back to Nawrocki and into the centre circle for Trusty. We played 7 at Pittodrie, it's 0-0.
I think Aberdeen should be looking a little bit further forward. They're going into Clarkson, who demands a ball. You can understand that, but I think I've seen Celtic. Mike Nawrocki's been 1v1 twice now, and I just don't believe Aberdeen are not going for that longer pass. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You've got to try and mix the game up, and if you keep passing in front of Celtic, there is no doubt Celtic will steal the ball off you and punish you.
Further bad news for Aberdeen, incidentally, because Dundee United have gone in front at Ibrox against Rangers. Suddenly that 4th spot is under duress, never mind 3rd. Celtic have a man down on the halfway line. Stephen McLean has stopped play. I'm not sure if he's awarded the free kick or not, but it's going to be a stoppage in play here. I've not got the scorer for Dundee United, but if Aberdeen were to lose this and United were to win at Ibrox, it's a Jensen challenge on Yang, incidentally, they'd be level on points before they play each other at Tannadice on Saturday. In 4th place, well, it gets you 2 stabs at European competition, because if you're into the Europa League second qualifying round, if you lose that, at least you get another go at the Conference League 3rd qualifying round. 5th spot would be 1 go at the second qualifying round of the Conference League. If you lose that, you're out altogether. So even 4th place would be a result. Of course, Aberdeen, if they win the Scottish Cup, would take all the European prizes, but up against the team they're playing tonight, and it'll be a more recognisable Celtic team on that occasion, as Bernardo flicks it back to the edge of the box for McGregor. He's had it nicked off him well by Papi Gay. Gay now driving forward, down he goes. Stephen McLean elects to allow Celtic to play on here, no free kick. Ralston squares it short there to McGregor, then Ralston goes back, Gay catches McGregor. Stephen McLean says Celtic are still in possession, so gives them the advantage of that. But you did think, when you saw Peter, we've seen it so often this season, Callum McGregor, he's been lethal from outside the box.
Yeah, I thought he was going to have that.
Gay had to get there.
Yeah, absolutely, I thought he was going to get there. Gay done very well and then broke away with the ball. But then he was very lucky, he didn't get himself booked. He doesn't want to do that against Callum McGregor. He should just let the game flow, Gay, because if Aberdeen lose a player, it could be a long, long night, especially in that position of the pitch.
It was youngster Samuel Cleo-Harding who got the Dundee United goal at Ibrox. They lead Rangers 1-0. As Forrest collects on the near side, and he's got his own personal determination. He's running out of games that he wants to score in all 16 of his senior seasons in the Celtic first team. Running out of opportunities. He'll fancy one tonight, he would have thought. Ralston gives it away to Keskinen, who shimmies away from Nawrocki, driving down the left-hand side for Aberdeen. First time forward really in the game. The outside of the boot cross ball comes in, cleared by Trusty, picked up by Nawrocki, who finds McCowan. Will touch it back to the edge of his own box for Ralston. 10 in, 0-0. That's the first time we've really seen Topi Keskinen break free. In fact, any of the Aberdeen attacking players break free.
Yeah, absolutely. He was that quick, he got away from the rest and they couldn't really get the support. To be fair to Trusty, he defended it well. He crossed his, obviously come away with his left foot when the ball's coming across his right hand side. So it's not the easiest ball to defend. But Aberdeen players couldn't go up quick enough to get in that support because they're that busy defending deeper in that block to stop Celtic attacking.
With Luke McCowan for Celtic on this near side, one of 8 alterations to the one that started against Hibernian on Saturday in Glasgow. It's Trusty left of the centre circle, squaring it to Nawrocki. Just takes it at walking pace and then decides to go back to Trusty. He passes it back to Sinisalo, the edge of his box, and then Mike Nawrocki picks up and walks up towards the halfway line again. It's a long ball. Forrest had made his run, but it's going to come all the way through to Dimitar Mitov. Will bowl it quickly to Graham Shinnie. Shinnie then driving up the left-hand touchline. He's got Papi Gay if he can find him. Gay wasn't on the same wavelength as him, and of course Callum McGregor had spotted the danger a mile away and gets back onto it, shifts it back to his keeper, and then to Trusty out to Sloop on the far side. Morris with the challenge, and Nisbet helping him out. It goes behind the byline, but it will be a Celtic goal kick only, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0.
I think Celtic should do the same thing. I'm looking at young Kenny, he's making a lot of good movement, but it's all in front of Aberdeen's 2 centre-backs, so we'll be quite happy with that. And there's a massive gap in behind Aberdeen. I'm quite surprised Brendan's saying, and you can see, look, McCowan's pointing to Tony Ralston, he's looking to Nawrocki, put it behind because the space is there.
Celtic have it with Nawrocki, and then he goes back to Sinisalo. Aberdeen looking to beat Celtic in successive matches. This one in the Scottish Cup final, if they were to do that, the first time in 11 years that they've managed it. As Sinisalo picks up and turns it to the left for Trusty. I don't think there's too many Aberdeen supporters are happy when Rangers score goals, but they have managed to equalise very quickly against Dundee United, so perhaps there'll be a sense of relief about that. Ralston picks up and shifts it forward to Forrest. Loose one from Forrest. Papi Gay has it, finds Shinnie, who knocks it forward with the left foot for Keskinen. Back to Gay, cut out by McCowan though, who passes it forward. Now it's with Yang, who's moved out to the right-hand side. Forrest's gone into the middle. Yang gets away from Shinnie, he committed himself with a diving challenge. It's pulled back well to Bernardo, whose effort's on target but saved by Mitov. A little bit of an unorthodox bit of goalkeeping as well by the Bulgarian, as Aberdeen scramble it away and out for a throw into Celtic on this near side.
Yeah, but it was good play by Yang. He came and picked the ball up in a good area, very direct. Graham Shinnie shouldn't go to ground, but he does. Cuts it back. I expect Bernardo to score because he's more than capable of it. But yet again, it's that movement that Aberdeen are not really handling at this moment in time in the midfield.
Celtic on the ball with Ralston, passes it down the right hand side. Forrest gets the cross ball in with the right, headed behind for a corner by Canuster though. Aberdeen hanging on a little bit at the moment. They're going to have to defend this corner. It's the first of the match, and it will be Celtic. He'll take quickly and short. McCowan to Forrest. Forrest back to McGregor. Left foot low ball along the grass for McCowan to the underlapping Ralston. Looks to cross, cut out by Morris. Mitov prevents the corner and holds on. And it's goalless, but that's the first real effort on target in the match there as Gay chases it. Sinisalo comes a long way out of his box and heads it out for a throw-in to Aberdeen, though he's caught Papi Gay as well, but I think he's got eyes on the ball, in fairness to the Celtic goalkeeper. And Gay's felt it, he's down clutching his face, I think, on the pitch, and he might require some attention here. Indeed, the referee is, I think, encouraging the Aberdeen medics to come on. It's Cyril Dessers who's got the Rangers equaliser in that game at Ibrox, so Rangers 1, Dundee United 1. Slight stoppage here, so it's 1-1 on that one. St Mirren 0, Hibs 2. Hibs a win. They are all but confirmed as finishing in the top 3. Goalless here bottom 6. Goalless Dundee, Ross County. Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0, and goalless between Motherwell and Kilmarnock, as it is in the early stages of the Championship playoff final between Cove Rangers and Airdrieonians in the first leg of that one. Not too far from here, as Trusty goes back to Sinisalo, pushes it into midfield for Bernardo, and then back to Trusty, rolls it out to the left for Sloop. 15 in, Peter, what have you made of it?
Well, just going back to that, you're talking about Sinisalo, his positioning was excellent, because it's exactly the ball that I think Aberdeen should be playing. And Gay gets in, and he's very fortunate, he read it so well. He was 30 yards from his goal, and Guy got there.
There's a chance for Keskinen at the edge of the box. Celtic a little bit sloppy on that occasion. Clarkson rolls it wide left for Gay, left hand side of the box. Papi Gay has it for Aberdeen, chips it towards the 6-yard line when it's headed away. Palaversa controls at the edge of the area, gets it out to Jensen wide on the right. Aberdeen still trying to keep this attack alive. Now it's with Morris at the byline, goes through the gears, gets to the byline, pulls it across. Gay's header's a weak one into the ground, and it's a comfortable save from Viyami Sinisalo, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0 at Pittodrie.
Very good play by Morris, very direct, and he left Sloop quite easily, and that was quite surprising actually. Put a good ball in the box, but as you say, unfortunately for Aberdeen, Gabe was coming back the way and couldn't get the power into the header.
An 8th red card of the Premiership season for Kilmarnock. Robbie Dees has been sent off for the second time this campaign. And their match this evening at Fir Park, still goalless, but Dees off. Kelly down to 10. Doesn't really matter too much the outcome of that one. Both clubs delighted with that. It could have been a tense evening. It is Celtic on the ball here with Johnny Kenny. Haven't seen much of him yet, the big striker. Scored 20 goals last year for Shamrock Rovers in the League of Ireland. He scored 5 in this season's Conference League for them as well. As James Forrest picks up on this right-hand side, level with the edge of the D of the Aberdeen box. Low ball to McGregor, to Bernardo, to McGregor, into the box, cleared by Shinnie. Now broke to him. Now it's Nawrocki for Celtic as they come again. Turned out to the left for Austin Trusty, clips it forward for Sloop. He's stolen in behind Jensen. Still at Sloop, he's in the area. Looks to turn it back to the edge for Bernardo. He gives it straight to Clarkson though. He finds Nisbet. He goes back to Palaversa. Forward to Gay. Uses his heel to flick it out wide right for Leighton Clarkson. Aberdeen coming forward on the counter here. Gay and Keskinen waiting in the middle. Clarkson pulls it back and it bounces off Callum McGregor of all people to Sinisalo, who's picked it up there. The Aberdeen fans think that was a pass back. Celtic will try and spring the Dons here on the counter of their own. Out to Yang on the left hand side. Jensen's the covering player. Yang gets there first though, level with the Aberdeen 18-yard line. It's opened up a bit here. Back to McCowan. Jinks away from Palaversa. He's away from Jensen, who then bites back and does well in the end to defend Luke McCowan as he rolls it back to the byline for Dorrington, who clears. McGregor's cushion header, then Palaversa's cushion header, and now it's with Canuster. Brilliant defensive work by Callum McGregor again, Peter.
Absolutely fantastic. As I say, that 1v1 situation you're getting too many times, but Callum McGregor read the danger, got back in there, and he could easily have been given as a pass back, to be fair to him, but I agree with the referee in that situation. I thought it was fantastic defending with McGregor.
St Johnstone teetering on the brink. They are 2-0 down to Hearts now in Edinburgh, and Alan Forrest has added to that. Barry Douglas OG, and it's Hearts 2, St Johnstone 0 at Tynecastle. Open All Mics continues on BBC Radio Scotland FM and on BBC Sounds here on Extra, 810 medium wave and digital, as well as at the website bbc.co.uk/Sport Scotland. It's Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. 19th minute of the game. Celtic seeing a lot of the ball. Just the one real effort in anger though. Paulo Bernardo tested Mitov, but it's perhaps not seeing enough urgency from Aberdeen at the moment. Peter, is that fair?
Yeah, I think they'll be concerned. I think we spoke about it prior to the match that they done at Ibrox at the weekend. They came out and tried to have probably a go in the second half and get turned over. So they're sitting in their shape now. The biggest problem is when they win it back, I think they're still trying to find that striker, but they're that deep. Celtic are in the final third of Aberdeen, and so are all Aberdeen strikers, so there's nowhere for them to go.
Here's Sloop attacking Jensen. It's cleared by Dorrington. Kenny goes down, no penalty. Celtic have got 82% possession statistic at the moment. Here's Forrest, right hand side of the Aberdeen box, pulls it across, blocked by Dorrington, plays it off Palaversa, but it ricochets back to Mitov, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Celtic 0. But 82% possession for Celtic, but away from home as well.
Yeah,
and it's not their first choice 11.
Yeah, I think you just see that, Liam, with the fluidity in the midfield. They're all changing positions. It's difficult for Aberdeen because they're trying to man mark Callum McGregor, but Callum's cute enough, he gets into centre back position, so it drags the strikers away out of position, so it leaves a big gap. The only thing you see about young Kenny, as I've said to you, you watch the other strikers that play with Celtic, they sort of play half offside. He's playing in front of them, and that makes a hell of a difference for the space. Aberdeen can get close.
Celtic have it with Forrest, wide in the right, dinks it forward for Kenny, takes a touch and then swivels, shoots, blocked, and then back to Bernardo, who fires it high and wide, and it will stay goalless. But he was in a brilliant position, he'll be annoyed at that.
Oh, he'll be really disappointed at that, because it's a fantastic, and it's the first time young Kenny's getting behind, and he gets a strike away, it belts back to him, and I'd expect Bernardo to hit the target with that. I mean, I've seen it so many times with him this season. He's a good finisher, so he'll be disappointed, as I say.
Aberdeen have it wide in the right there with Dorrington. Low ball forward up towards Shayden Morris, who controls well, turns in field and turns, looks to see what's ahead of him. Jensen is out wide right, that's where it goes. Jensen tackled by Sloop and out for an Aberdeen throw-in just inside Celtic territory over on that right hand side. Played short to Palaversa, back to Jensen, who rolls it back to Dorrington, who squares it for Clarkson. In that quarterback position that he's enjoyed playing in recently. Switches to Shinnie, nods it forward to Keskinen, wide left for Papi Gay, attacking the Celtic box. Now Keskinen shoots and it's over the bar. They're taking a deflection, doesn't look like it. Goal kick's been given. Aberdeen are claiming corner. It did seem to have a slightly strange trajectory to it when it left Keskinen's boot, kind of looped over the bar, and I think Aberdeen are claiming it came off the Celtic defender.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I was saying he'd be disappointed with that finish, but I think it's Nick off Naroki. I think that's where it's hit his heel, because I thought Keskinen was to miss the target by that much from 18 yards out. Would be disappointed by a forward player.
And then Morris brought to the ground by Sloop. Stephen McLean's allowing Aberdeen an advantage. They're still in possession on this, but gave it away momentarily. It goes out for a throw-in, and Aberdeen have the ball over on the halfway line on that right-hand side. The ref quite clearly gave them the advantage on that occasion, though it clearly was a foul on Shayden Morris out on that far side. Palaversa picks up and rolls it low to Morris. Jensen ahead of him. Morris passes it to Jensen. Now the Dane has it level with the Celtic penalty spot. It's a poor ball cut out by Sloop, but it's an Aberdeen throw-in. See more of the ball just in the last few minutes, the home team. Morris on the right hand side swings the cross in, headed away by Trusty. Picked up by Sloop, who dumps it into the away support in the south stand over on the far side. We played a quarter of this match. It remains goalless, and it's Aberdeen who are doing a bit of attacking here, and Jensen bowls it back to Dorrington, who finds Clarkson. Steps away there from Kenny, turns it out to the right looking for Jensen. Just a bit too much on the pass though, and it will go out for a Celtic throw-in in front of their own fans over on that far side.
It seems to be there that they want to get into that down the side of the centre backs. And you always think against Celtic, because the full backs play inside, that's the area for Aberdeen to play in, and I agree with that. With Morris's pace, Keskinen's pace, you would think that's an area that could possibly hurt them, but to do that you've got to have the ball.
James Forrest for Celtic, just flicking it with the outside of the boot for Ralston. Infield to McGregor. Aberdeen haven't kept a clean sheet at Pittodrie against Celtic since December 2001. It's a remarkable statistic that's coming on a quarter of a century. Trusty has it forward into the Aberdeen half for Bernardo. Now it's with McGregor scampering forward, and he's going to slip it to the left there. Kenny in the box. He scuffs his effort though, and it comes bouncing off Dorrington, but I think the flag was raised, and it will be a free kick to Aberdeen for an offside. And Johnny Kenny probably won't be the most unwelcome offside flag he's ever seen. No, he's not far. It's very tight, isn't it?
If it's going with your foot, he's onside. If it's going with your foot, he's definitely onside, because you can go with the cut in the grass. But it was very good play with Callum McGregor making that third man run that just left Aberdeen wide open.
Aberdeen were wide open. That second half at Ibrox on Sunday. Bernardo Rolls it infield to McGregor. Again, he's in space, and you cannot give Callum McGregor space. Ball from McCowan's cut out by Shinnie. Blocked by Ralston. Breaks kindly for McCowan, who finds Kenny. Back to McCowan in the D of the Aberdeen box. Crowded out by red shirts, though. And now it's Topi Keskinen looking to find Gay. Goes straight to Nawrocki, though. And the big defender races onto it and turns it to his left for Trusty. He scoops it down the line for Jeffrey Schlupp. Being displaced by Greg Taylor again in recent weeks. Bernardo flicks it with the outside of the boot into the centre circle for McCowan. He gets it out wide right for Forrest. Ralston to his right. It is James Forrest across, and Jensen digs it out from the 6-yard line. Nisbet flicks it away under pressure from McGregor. Gay's body checked by Trusty. Free kick to Aberdeen, just beyond the midway point of their own half, and the Dons fans want Austin Trusty booked as well for that one. I think they felt there was a little bit cynical. 25 and a half on the clock at 0-0.
Yeah, he's lucky not to get a booking for it, to be fair. Trusty knows that he's not going to get back to him. Guy's got it by him. Obviously, I think maybe the referees thought he's made a meal of it, but he could have got a yellow card there, no doubt in that.
Clarkson going back to Kanuster, and then to Mitov. Rolls it out to Dorrington. These two will meet in the Scottish Cup final a week on Saturday for the 8th time. Aberdeen have won 3 to Celtic's 4. Previous final meetings. Dorrington turns it back to Mitov. Still work to be done for Aberdeen to try and secure 4th. And in the Premiership, it looks like 3rd has gone. Kanuster, the left angle of his own box. Long ball with the left foot up towards the halfway line. Left by both Nisbet and Trusty, though Nawrocki gets there ahead of Keskinen. The flag's gone up anyway against, I think, Kevin Nisbet. Will be a free kick to Celtic.
You can hear the Aberdeen fans getting frustrated with the backline pass, too many passes. And I agree with them, as I say, you're playing with a front four really when Celtic have got the ball defended. And they keep playing square at the back, so they're just waiting on Celtic coming in. Celtic are very good at stealing the ball off you, so I don't understand why they're playing about the back here. And that's the only time Celtic seem to cause them a problem when they lose it.
Well, one accusation's been levelled at Jimmy Tillin is that he doesn't have a plan B, and it's been the same despite some results perhaps dropping. He's continued persevering with the same system. It was something Barry Robson did, and it ultimately cost him in matches.
It's not down to the system. I can understand the manager wanting to maybe play out if Celtic are not high. I understand that, but Celtic are really high. One pass, it takes 8 Celtic players out if you go beyond that. 8 Celtic players, and it's quite incredible they play in front of them, because Celtic will eat them up if they keep playing in front of them. For me, it's just like saying, right, we're waiting to see if we're going to get beat. That's what it looks like. And you're saying the biggest trick they could have up their sleeve is the pass beyond.
Here comes Celtic with Ralston, rolling it out to the touchline for Forrest. Now he's driving deep into the Aberdeen half, taking on Shinnie, looks to get the cross in, does so. Yang's header, straight at Mitov. Well, he's got history in front of goal against Aberdeen as Yang, but it's a comfortable take for Mitov in the end. He was trying to find that top left corner of the goal. There was the Celtic winger. Stays nothing each.
It's a great ball in, to be fair, from James Forrest. I think he's maybe got to header it back across the goal, because he seems to get enough on it, and goes right into Mitov's hands, makes it quite simple for him.
Mitov out to Shinnie. It's not the easiest one for the captain to control, but he does so, gets it back to Kanuster, rolls it low back to his keeper. Mitov then out to the right hand side for Dorrington. Rolls it towards Nisbet, given away straight to McGregor, who's going to slip it through to Kenny. Celtic have others in the middle. It's going to break to Forrest on his left side, just wide, and James Forrest must have thought that long-awaited goal was coming.
Wow. But yeah, again, Dorrington turns and plays the ball into the middle of the pitch, and you look at the space beyond. It's quite incredible, actually. Exactly what we spoke about. I'm surprised Kenny never went across the pitch. When it ricochets to James Forrest, James will be so disappointed. He just doesn't kick it right with his left foot. I know it's his weaker foot, but
well, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's more than capable of finishing that.
That saved Aberdeen, the fact it was on his left foot. Because we've seen at times, Peter, over the years, James Forrest, he'd much rather go with the outside of his right foot than go with his left.
Yeah, absolutely. But well, he's more than capable of that. He's probably thinking, that's that 16th season I've scored. Just rushed it a little bit.
Yeah, we'd love that to be the case. Most decorated player in Celtic's history, Peter. It's quite remarkable, isn't it? And he's got the chance on Saturday week to make it 27, which would put him 2 clear of Bobby Lennox, and if that does happen, Callum McGregor as well. But we'll get to that in a moment, because Forrest's in behind Shinnie here. Low ball across, cut out by Knooster, in behind for a Celtic corner. It's looking like a matter of time right now before the champions hit the front here at Pittodrie as we approach the half hour at 0-0.
Yeah, I think Aberdeen, as I say, they're giving Celtic the ball in the areas that's going to punish them, and that's why I think it's only a matter of time in that respect, unless Aberdeen change it. And listen, we can give manager a bit of criticism. He's telling them the space is there at times, and they've just not used it. So it's players' decision making.
Luke McCowan will take the corner between the main stand and the Merklin Road end off to our right, and it comes as a free header, and there's a goal for Celtic. Nawrocki hits it down from 6 yards out into the bottom left corner, down into the ground and past Mitov, and it's Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1.
He doesn't seem to have to do much. It's a great ball in with Luke McCown. He's just put it in an area where you would expect defenders to go and attack it, but there was only one guy who wanted to header it, to be perfectly honest with you. I think he's out jumped 2 of them actually. Keskinen was marking him at first, then it comes, Nesbitt comes out and doesn't get there. They never really got off the ground. If you're Jimmy Tillene, you'll be very, very disappointed to lose a goal like that so easily.
Mike Nawrocki with his first goal of the campaign, and an applause from his manager. And I think just before the corner was taken, it felt like it was only a matter of time before Celtic scored, and there it is.
Yeah, they were causing their own problems, Aberdeen. As I say, there's nothing to be embarrassed about in mixing the game up. I mean, people think it's all going to be pretty and whatever. You've got to play the game at times, and you can coach it as a manager, but you've got to make decisions when you're a footballer on the football field.
Well, that means Celtic's run of goal scoring at Pittodrie will go on again as Yang comes forward in the left-hand side of the box, pulls it back to McCowan, takes a touch and moves it right-hand side of the area for Forrest. Now Ralston across, clear by Knooster on the 6-yard line. This is shooty in here. Aberdeen need to change something, or this is going to be another bitterly disappointing evening. Ralston picks up down by the corner flag on this near side, deep inside the Aberdeen half. Now it's back with McCowan, and then in field McGregor to Bernardo. Out to McCowan, rolls it to Ralston, in acres of space, low ball in, comes off Shinnie, on target as well in his own goal. Mitov holds on the right place he was. Celtic 1-0 up, looking for a second there.
They're just moving the ball so quickly, it's not allowing Aberdeen to close them down. Now Keskinen's getting disappointed because he was in acres of space there, and they play a short pass again, they give it back to Celtic, and then it's just go and attack us again.
That means Celtic have scored in each of the last 44 visits here. And the fact is that the last Aberdeen goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet against Celtic at Pittodrie turns 60 this year, Peter Keir. Here's Forrest, the underlapping Ralston gets the cross in. Jensen controls in the 6-yard line. He's dealt with it pretty well in the end, but Palaversa's clearance goes straight back into Celtic possession with Schlupp, who rolls it all the way back into his own half for Trusty. Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1. The Dons will have to be careful here. They go to Tannadice on Saturday. Dundee United are drawing 1-1 right now. As things stand, the gap will close to 2 points, but the goal difference was, before tonight's match, is bang level between Aberdeen and Dundee United. Right now Celtic are well on top here and looking for a second goal in quick succession.
Yeah, and you can hear the frustration of the supporters, you know.
Well, there's a whole heap of Aberdeen supporters over in the south stand are waving for, I presume, medics to go and help somebody in the south stand over on the far side. It's impossible from over here in the main stand to know exactly what's happening, but there's clearly some kind of distress in the south stand over on the far side, because the supporters were waving frantically to get the game stopped here. And now the physios and the medics from both teams, from both clubs, have made their way into the south stand over on the far side, along with police, stewards and I presume there'll be a couple of paramedics in there as well. No idea what's going on, but clearly there's an issue with a supporter in the south stand, so a stoppage in play, but a timely reminder here that there are so many more things more important than football, and your health's your wealth at the end of the day, and we can only hope that everything's all right over there. There's 10 minutes to go until the half-time whistle here. It's 1-0 to Celtic, but it matters not when you see something like that. It was quite worrying, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought they were getting frustrated with the team, actually. Everybody was shouting, you know, and unfortunately, as you say, an incident over there, and let's just hope and pray that everything's going to be okay.
Well, both sets of players have come over to take on some fluids here. The half-time whistle's beginning to go in the 7:45 kickoffs. This one kicked off at 8. Half-time at Ibrox, Rangers 1, Dundee United 1. Samuel Cleal-Harding had United ahead, but only for 4 minutes before Cyril Dessers equalised. So it's 1 apiece at half-time at Ibrox. They are in first half stoppage time in Paisley. St Mirren 0, Hibernian 2. Goals on 3 and 10 minutes from Boyle and Kuharevich are doing the damage. They are doing the damage here as far as the scoring's concerned. Mike Nawrocki in 31 minutes has Celtic 1-0 up against Europe chasing Aberdeen. Still goalless down the road from here at half-time. All 3 matches in the bottom 6 have reached the midway point. Goalless Dundee, Ross County, that huge one when it comes to that relegation playoff position. Half-time at Tynecastle, Heart of Midlothian 2, St Johnstone 0, Barry Douglas with an own goal, Alan Forrest adding to the scoring, and goalless between Motherwell and Kilmarnock, though Killie have had Robbie Dees sent off, an 8th red card of the league season. Airdrieonians incidentally 1-0 up at Cove Rangers, 16 minutes into the game. McDonald goal, Cove Rangers 0, Airdrieonians 1. So those are the score lines across the action that's taking place this evening, but this stoppage is continuing and it doesn't sound good. We'll obviously keep across what's going on, but there is an Aberdeen supporter in the south stand on the far side who's being worked on, and hopefully he or she will be okay, but there's going to be a lengthy stoppage in play by all accounts, by the look of things, Peter.
Yeah, it does. I just think they're trying to organise an ambulance, to be perfectly honest with you. I can see them pointing to make sure to how they're going to get it in, or how they're going to get the unfortunate person out.
Yeah, I mean, every now and again we see this happening at a football match, and it just brings perspective to absolutely everything. And you know, we just hope that the medics and the people who are helping out over there have been able to get there in time, because we saw how frantic the supporters were waving. That's
the only blessing you've got. You've got top quality people here, doctors and that in the stadium, and staff obviously for both clubs. Great credit to them, sprinted across the pitch to try and do as much help as they can, along with the workers in here as well. So you're hoping that they just seem to be waiting. Obviously they're taking a chair over to, obviously, because I don't think they can access to get an ambulance in, so whether that's a chair to take the person out.
Well, the clock says 38.5 minutes with the scoreline Aberdeen 0, Celtic 1. It might just be, until we get clarity here, it might just be an idea for us to join the guys on the FM frequency, because they're at half-time in the other matches, and at least they'll be able to put some meat on the bones of what's been going on elsewhere in the Premiership, and indeed that Championship playoff final first leg between Cove Rangers and Airdrieonians. So we'll be back here as soon as possible, but perhaps we'll go back to Kenny McIntyre and the guys on FM just to get a little half-time roundup from elsewhere.
Is it saying possible offside? Yeah, so it comes over the tannoy, but St Mirren and Kilmarnock can be quite bad for announcing it and then literally a half a second later announcing that it's play on and everything's good. So we've still not had confirmation whether the goal stands or not yet.
Push by Marcus Fraser.
St Mirren work a block, which you see at corners, at free kicks. It's more likely to be that than offside from the bits we've seen.
Yeah, well,
it clearly said offside over the tannoy.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I think he may be. So let's have a look. I think he's offside, isn't he? Stephen, you had a chance to look at that when that ball's come in?
That is a better angle we've seen there. This could be offside.
Yeah.
That angle there, that tells you everything.
Right, so just waiting on that. It's a big moment. Stephen Robinson, arms folding the touchline there in the sunshine and praise. It's a glorious night right across the country. It's a great night for football, so we're just waiting. But I think this one will be ruled out. The ball's coming into the box now. Yeah, he looks clearly offside, doesn't he? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm maybe
no.
The only hope is Chris, from a St Mirren point of view, is Chris Cadden at the front area. He's the only one that might have played Marcus Fraser on, but it's definitely one that's going to be tight.
Right, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to announce a split again. The commentary team came back with us there because Willie told us about the emergency in the stands there at Aberdeen and everything is okay with that fan there. So a choice of listening again. Stay with us on BBC Sounds for Open All Mics, 92 to 95
Goal
FM.
given!
Right, goal given.
Right, well, I think you just heard there St Mirren's goal, Richard Taylor's goal right at the end of the first half has stood, so it's now St Mirren 1, Hibernian 2. I'm pleased to say that the supporter who took L in the stand is in a wheelchair. We can see him, he's sitting up, he's talking to the paramedics, so thank goodness.
Absolutely.
He's okay.
Absolutely, 100%. That's all.
At least he's okay, and it could have been a lot worse by the sounds of things. So that's good news. It's game on here. The players are back underway. It's Nisbet with a header out to Keskinen wide in the left. 4 minutes of the 45 left. Keskinen's ball into the box for Papi Gay. Finds Nisbet, who heads for goal and finds it. Sinisalo got a touch, but Nisbet's header just evaded the grasp of the Celtic keeper. And within seconds of the restart, it is Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
The interesting thing, we talk about managers' tactics. I think he dropped Papagay onto Callum McGregor and said to Nisbet to go up the middle. And if that's the case, it's brilliant for the manager, because what he's done is Papagay hooked the ball on, and you can see Nisbet against, as he put it in. I just thought, oh no, he's onside because Trusty was in front of him. No, there's no problems with the goal. You can see his positional play guy, but it's the first time the other striker's been up the pitch and they managed to score from it.
Well, I mean, that could be a huge minute or two across the country, with St Mirren getting themselves back into the game against Hibs in Paisley, still trailing Hibs 2-1, and Aberdeen equalising here. And Sinisalo's back pass is pretty poor. He's put his defence under serious pressure. Morris chasing. Good challenge on him as it breaks to Keskinen. I think the Aberdeen fans felt there was a foul on Nisbet in the Celtic box. Here's Keskinen looking to drive it across, winning the corner on this near side. And I think the Aberdeen players want, well, they're in Stephen McLean's ear here and hoping that the VAR is going to have a look at it. And Nawrocki, I think, got to the ball, and I think it was outside the box anyway when you see the replay.
No, it's definitely not a penalty kick. I mean, he's kicked outside of his foot. I thought he should have been a little bit braver than Nisbet, to be perfectly honest with you, because Nawrocki had a big touch, and as you say, it was outside the box, but he thought it was a chance.
Leighton Clarkson will take the corner in front of the Pittodrie tunnel off to our left as the Aberdeen players attack the beach end. 7 minutes are going to be added as it stands. In comes the corner from Clarkson, beaten away by Sinisalo, and then Palaversa just about finds the top tier of the Richard Donald stand, and it stays one apiece. 43.5 on the clock, 7 as it stands to be bolted on at the end of it.
Yeah, I just think you've got to give the manager credit there if that's what he did do, because I think he was saying to one of them, he can't go up the pitch and we can't get out. And the first time they go forward, did more bodies round about the box and and round the ball. I think that caused Celtic a problem, but it was really the first time they played down the side of them.
Celtic have it with McGregor charging up to the halfway line. It's a long ball looking for Kenny. Canuster's there to knock it out to the right for Jensen. Under pressure from Yang. Then back Jensen onto his corner flag just about before he turns and clears up the touchline. McGregor wins it back for Celtic, out to Schlupp, to the left angle of the box for Bernardo, to McCowan. Now Kenny with his back to goal, under pressure, he can't get it back to a teammate, but Keskinen gives it away so tamely. Nawrocki finds Schlupp, and then out to Yang on the left, level with the Aberdeen penalty spot now. Final minute of the 45, Schlupp across, wins the corner off Dorrington. Celtic want their lead back before the break. We're close to going into the first of 7 minutes of stoppages at the end of the first half here. One apiece. And it will be Bernardo to take. In-swinger with the right foot over on that far side. And it comes to the 6-yard area. It's another header, and Mitov makes a save. It might even have come off the goal frame at some point there. Jensen was also defending the near post, so it might have been him it came off rather than the post.
No, I think it was Johnny Kenny, Jensen, and in the bar. I think that's the way it happened.
Bernardo straight into the box again, headed away by Gay. And then out for a throw-in, which Bernardo bowls back to Yang. Looks to get it back to Bernardo. He plays it straight out though for an Aberdeen throw-in on the far side. 7 minutes confirmed. We're into the first of them. 1-1 at Pittodrie. And I mean, the stoppage clearly hasn't helped Celtic when it came to that, because Aberdeen scored pretty much straight off the bat when the game got back underway. But they'll have to use that and try and get some kind of initiative in the game, because up until that break, Celtic got their lead and they were pounding that Aberdeen final third.
Absolutely, because they couldn't get out because they were doing the same pass. They were allowing Celtic to step on them. The first time they went longer, I think it was Graham Shinney.
Jensen with a deep cross into the box, and Nawrocki diving header puts it behind for an Aberdeen corner. They're finishing the first half strongly here, are the Dons.
It's the first time, Liam, really they're playing with a striker, because they've been that busy worrying about Callum McGregor. You know, they're that deep, so when they get wide they can't put the ball forward. The defenders have got the ball, they've nobody to play with, so they go square and then Celtic just take the ball off them. So they've got to play the game, as I say. The opposition, you know, Celtic are going to try and play a high line.
14th goal of the season for Kevin Nisbet, incidentally. A lot of them have come in the last couple of months. Clarkson with the corner, into the box it comes and bounces off a Celtic player who's lying on the deck. Not sure what went on there. Papi Gay continuing for Aberdeen down the right hand side. Still the Celtic player is down. I'm not sure, is it McGregor? The refs infuriated the Aberdeen supporters by eventually stopping play. It's not McGregor. There's a Celtic man down inside the Aberdeen box though. He was the meat and the sandwich between Dorrington and Palaversa.
Yeah, it's been a tactic they've worked, obviously. You see
it's
the block
McCowan.
off. Yeah, you see the block off. He's run right into him. Listen, it's a good tactic if you get away with it. There is no doubt of that. There's a sore one if you're in the end of it. But the surprising thing was that the referee played on a little bit. I don't think he realised it was his head. I'm not sure if it's his head or just winded. But Aberdeen, it's something obviously Aberdeen have noticed, that they can get away with a midfielder picking up at the edge of the box, and they've tried the block off to get one of their bigger players.
And McCowan's back to his feet. Not that he's getting any sympathy from the home fans. You wouldn't expect that. And he's having to go off the pitch, of course, having received treatment on it. So nothing else doing there, so it will be an Aberdeen drop ball presumably. It's in an attacking position, and the referee putting down the magic spray to ensure the Celtic players far enough back, as Jensen gives it away anyway, and Schlupp turns it out for an Aberdeen throw-in over on the far side.
I thought if it was a head injury, he didn't need to go off. I didn't know.
I'm not sure if it's gone. I don't know if
exactly.
Yeah,
I think that's what McGowan was saying to him.
There's Nisbet controlling the throw-in, looking to work it back out to Morris. Celtic clear through Trusty. It's Palaversa for Aberdeen. Now Morris down by the corner flag, wins the corner on the far side. Good end to the first half this by Aberdeen, who haven't beaten Celtic here since February 2016. Simon Church scored the winning goal. The heart of the Derek McInnes era. Pushing Ronnie Dial aside. The pre-Rodgers era, and then Clarkson with an out-swinging corner in front of the visiting supporters over on the right hand side for Aberdeen as they attack the goal to the left. In from Clarkson, flicked away by Celtic. Palaversa's volley is even worse than his last one, unless he can actually find Clarkson. It's ended up being a great ball. As Clarkson controls, gets the cross in, too close to Sinisalo, who holds on. And it stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1 here. We've played 4.5 of 7 minutes that were added on at the end of the first half.
I don't think you're giving the credit to Clarkson for his touch here. It was a wonderful touch out there, a wonderful touch.
I was just so mesmerised by the wonder of the Palaversa pass to him. As Ralston picks up on the near side and goes back to Nawrocki. Charging in is Gay, who knocks it behind there for a Celtic throw-in, though he's injured himself in the process by the look of it. He's rolling and writhing on the turf.
Yeah, I think it's just when he's blocked. I don't know if he's opened it. It's a carry through for the foot. Yeah, it's a carry through when Nawrocki's cleared it. His foot's carried through and hit him. Accidentally, to be fair.
Cove Rangers are level against Airdrieonians. Just a few miles away from here. Mitch Megginson, of course. Megginson teed up by Fraser Fivey, two formerly of this parish. So Megginson cancelling out that McDonald opener for Airdrie in the Championship playoff final first leg. The other Premiership matches are back underway, or getting back underway, albeit St Mirren Hibs, because of the lengthy VAR check, I think, with that Richard Taylor goal for Saints towards the end of the first half, has meant that that one's slightly behind. They've not quite got the second half back underway at Ibrox either yet, where it's 1-1, as it is here. The bottom 6 matches are all back underway now, the second half. Nawrocki for Celtic, just squaring it to Trusty. Comes forward, it's a long ball looking for Kenny, cut out by Dorrington. Breaks to Schlup over on the left-hand side. And then back to Austin Trusty, who squares it to Nawrocki. Gay pressuring, Nisbet's there, it goes back to Trusty. Pushes it forward to Bernardo, goes back first time to Sinisalo. Square for Nawrocki. Looks and sees what options in green and white are ahead of him. He elects to go back to Sinisalo. A couple of nervy moments for Sinisalo this evening. He must know this is his last chance to impress Brendan Rodgers ahead of the cup final, because we know Kasper Schmeichel's playing St Mirren on Saturday.
Yeah, listen, Sinisalo's done excellent. I've watched all his games since he came in. I don't think he's made any errors so far, and it was big gloves to fill, so he's done that exceptionally well.
Kenny wins it off Canuster on the near side. The attacking third rolls it infield for Callum McGregor, dancing towards the edge of the box. Overcooks it this time though. Leighton Clarkson picks it up and fires it out to Keskinen. Clarkson's becoming more of a force in the game. First time ball, Clarkson out to Gay on this near side. Gay on the turn, running into trouble. Eventually Clarkson helps him out, finds Keskinen. Looking to return it to Clarkson, which he has done. Clarkson's cross is too close to Sinisalo, but is better from Aberdeen. When you think of those opening 11 league games this season, it was the quick passing, the quick movement ahead. That was what was getting them into good attacking positions. That fell away and they became so pedestrian during the winter. That's more like it from them.
I think the difference is when Clarkson's on the ball, he makes things happen. The problem he's got at this moment in time, he's got nobody to play with, because they're more...
Yeah, but here's Forrest into the Aberdeen box, right hand side to the byline, fires it across, comes off Jensen, and the rebound's in. Yang restores the Celtic lead in the 8th minute of first half stoppage time. On the rebound, Yang fires home. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 2.
Well, that's what they're more than capable of. We told you, if you give the ball away and you try and play short. They played in front of Celtic again. Celtic steal the ball, gets wide, great ball in, and to be fair, Yang gets his luck. But James Forrest does fantastic on the opposite side, gets the ball in, fires it right into the back post. It comes off Jensen, and Yang's first to react, but James Forrest does brilliant. Just takes the extra yard and goes by the defender as if he's not there. But it all started in the middle of the pitch with Aberdeen playing square and giving the ball away, and James Forrest picked up and was very direct.
Absolutely. So Celtic back in front just before half-time, and it's how often do we say it? Celtic scoring goals in the dying embers of a half of football.
Well, yet again, Liam, Aberdeen shoot themselves in the foot by playing square. The bit of success they had after the stoppage in the game was going forward, playing forward. All of a sudden they go square in the middle of the pitch.
Well, there it is, half-time. Aberdeen to Kevin Nisbet got themselves back on level terms after Mike Nawrocki had given Celtic the lead. There's a big stoppage as attention was given to a supporter in the south stand. Nisbet's goal came straight after that, but Yang pops up with his latest goal against Aberdeen. He enjoys playing against them. It's his 6th of the season for Yang Hyun-jun, and it's Aberdeen 1, Celtic 2 at the break, as we return you for the half-time interval here at Pittodrie and join up with listeners on FM and open all mics.
I'll be enjoying myself.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, Willie, aren't we? Scottish football showpiece.
Football fan should be.
Yes, looking forward to it. And a fair play to
well
Aberdeen.
Well done, Aberdeen, on selling the ticket.
Just going to say that, Alan. They sold
Thanks,
really quickly, didn't they? 20,000.
I think it was.
Yeah, brilliant, really good.
Were you being genuine there, Alan, or were you being a little bit sarcastic?
No,
I put it down to
I
being
think it's
sarcastic about
brilliant.
the semi-final.
No,
You said enough about the semi-final.
No, I'm saying that the final is really good turnout, you know, and
Okay.
it was good from Aberdeen and Dave Cormack to say, listen, we'll take the burden if they don't sell out, and the Aberdeen fans have responded brilliantly.
Good.
Yeah, full coverage of that one on Sportsound a week on Saturday. Aberdeen against Celtic in the league game tonight. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 2. That goal right on the stroke of half-time from Yang, giving Brendan Rodgers' side the lead there. We have the latest scores. Let's give you the latest scores from the games are now just finishing in the SWPL. So earlier on, Hibs 4, Celtic 2, Hearts 3, Rangers 5. Final day shootout, that will be between Hibs and Rangers for the title. In the bottom half of the table, Partick Thistle 2, Queen's Park 0. 49 minutes played in that game. And elsewhere this evening in the Scottish Championship playoff final first leg, it is Cove Rangers 1, Airdrie 1 in that game. The opening goal coming for Airdrie from Dylan McDonald on 16 minutes. Mitch Megginson equalising on 35 minutes. They have just hit the half-time mark in that game. So let's then get back to the game at let's go to Cammy Kerr up there at the game between Dundee and Ross County at Dens Park. Cammy, I mean, you said earlier on it's a nervy affair. Who has been on top? Who's been the better side so far?
Certainly in the first half, County were probably the team looking to take the game to Dundee, but the second half's been so tentative again. The game's been played in the middle of the pitch. There's a lot of turnovers. It's scrappy, just trying to turn. Both teams are trying to turn each other's defence just now, so there's not even been a shot really on goal. As you say, two teams that look incredibly fearful of making mistakes, so nothing to report so far on the game.
Thanks to Cammy Kerr there. So as things stand, looking at actually I'm just going to welcome back listeners who have been tuned into the commentary from Pittodrie. We'll get back to second half commentary option from there in the next 10 minutes or so. Let's just get then to the bottom of the table. As things stand, St Johnstone relegated. County 36 points, Dundee 38 points. The final day fixtures in the bottom half are this Sunday. Kilmarnock at home to Hearts. There's definitely a story to be looked at there, not in terms of league positions, but the position of Derek McInnes on that day. Ross County are at home to Motherwell, Tom English. St Johnstone, they are at home to Dundee. Now, Saints, as things stand, could be gone at that point. So you think an easier game perhaps for Dundee. Mind you, Ross County, they're up against a Motherwell side. I'm not going to say they've got nothing to play for, but they are safe. But this, as things stand, for that 11th spot is going right down to the final day.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be a nerve jangler for clubs involved, and it gives us something. I know we don't want to wish this.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
We want a big crash bang wallop finish to the league season. We don't want everything settled. It won't be.
Ken, I think irrespective of what happens, Ross County's game will be alive at the weekend. Is that right?
Yes.
Because if they draw tonight, then they still have to beat Motherwell and hope that Dundee don't beat St Johnstone.
Yeah, that's right. 2 points in it right now, Stephen. You're correct.
Goal at Dens!
Yeah, go, here it is. Cammy Kerr.
Goal, Scott Tiffany for Dundee off the left. The Ross County wing back caught with a ball inside of him. It's greatly played from Lyle Cameron. takes a touch, slots it through the goalie's legs. 1-0 Dundee.
That is a huge goal, Steve McGinn. It was a lovely finish.
A huge goal, but a brilliant goal. I mean, two young Scottish players. Well, Tiffany's not as young, but Lyle Cameron, brilliant vision. He's played it. I know Cammy's saying fullback. As a fullback, he'll be looking at his position, but Lyle Cameron's just put it into Scott Tiffany's path. And a bit like the James Forrest one, once Tiffany's in full flight, he just rolls it under the goalkeeper. Brilliant goal from a Dundee point of view.
He's timed his run beautifully, hasn't he? And right into the corner. We're just seeing it here now. So the pass coming through, fantastic. Good strength from Tiffany there. Actually, he could have been brought down by the county defender, but that goal, Tom English, that changes everything.
Yeah,
right now.
Chance for the Perth Saints.
Yes, Alan.
There's still a little chance for St Johnstone then.
Yeah, there is, Alan. You're right, because the goal difference is so tight. So that is a chance for them. Just apologies, a slight delay on Alan's line. Also a delay in the line in Paisley for Rory Loy. So we're not talking over each other deliberately. That is a massive goal, though, for the home side at Dens Park. And Tom English, to be fair to you, said before the game he fancied Dundee to get the job done tonight.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, they're leading. They haven't got the job done. But it was a lovely way to pass and a lovely finish in a game so tense.
Tom English, the tipster's Putin's looking healthy.
Aye. Tom, you want to say anything about that?
Well, listen, what's seldom is wonderful, lads. You know what I mean? But listen, you know what they're like. You know what this league is like. All of these results could turn around very quickly.
But Alan's right. It keeps things very much alive for St Johnstone. They're 3 points behind and exactly the same goal difference.
You wonder, does the mindset change for St Johnstone in terms of trying to get the result better? Do you say we can't afford to concede any more goals here? You wonder what the mentality is. I know what Simo Valkyrie probably thinks, but it's an interesting one.
Stephen, let me just tell you, he's made a positive change. He's brought on Uche Ekpiezu. And he's taken hold off, and there's an effort from Shanklin. Oh! Wait till you see this. It's almost, 1 yard, 2 yards inside the St Johnstone half. Brilliant effort. He sees the keeper off his line. He goes for it. The keeper scrambling back just wide of the target. Brilliant stuff.
Brilliant effort.
He did that at Tannadice, didn't he, for United a few years ago, didn't he?
He did, yeah. That was a magnificent.
That one was his right foot. This one was his left foot. And that is so close. What an effort.
He's smiling the smile of a guy who knows that could have been special. I wasn't a million miles away.
Also known he's maybe adding a few figures to that new contract coming his way.
Tom English. That's almost one of those £1,000 you were talking about on his wage there.
But it just shows you that he's got his mojo back. When you're trying one from the halfway line or not far off it, this guy is he's got his momentum back now.
It's nice seeing someone enjoying his football again, because there's one thing. Lon Shanklin played, whatever you think of where he should be played, he did it to the best of his ability, and he looked so frustrated that he couldn't add goals to the game while Neil Critchley was in charge. And it's nice to see that, as Tom said, that swagger back.
Right, let's get bouncing around the grounds again. Let's get to the game at Ibrox. Rangers at home to Dundee United. What's happening, Stephen Cragen?
Yeah, the second half's been a little bit flat, Kenny. Almost mirror image of how the first half started, although Rangers almost had a really audacious goal. It was a long goal kick from Jack Butland. I think Ross Dockery headed it back to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was waiting for it to come into his area, and he waited so long that Dessers actually nicked it away from him, but Dessers tried to get the shot. It was steered off the line by Will Ferry. So when the game is going nowhere, Rangers almost got themselves in front, but it is still 1-1. I don't know if either manager will look to make subs. I think Jim Goodwin will probably be happier than what Barry Ferguson is, but yeah, Rangers is a little bit of huffing and puffing in the second half, but just lacking a little bit of quality.
Yeah, thanks to Stephen Cragen there. So looking at the live table again, we're going to do that all night because there is so much to play for. Aberdeen, as things stand, 53 points, and United 51. So if United beat Aberdeen at Tannadice on Saturday, they will jump into 4th spot in the table, but still plenty to play for this evening. Let's get to the game in Paisley. St Mirren at home to Hibs. What's happening, Rory?
Not a lot. Hibs started the second half really well, similar to how they started the first. Martin Boyle with his twinkle toes nipped by a few defenders and dragged a shot just wide. They've had a corner and a couple of long throws, but other than that, there's not much to report. Just looking at talking about Ross County and Dundee and all the teams down the bottom, having been involved in the playoff system from a championship team, it does favour the Premiership side, but I have to say, if it's going to be Ross County, if I'm Livingston or Partick Thistle, most likely Livingston given the score in the first leg, I'm looking at that going, Ross County potentially lost 8-9 on the bounce. I would have to say this will be the first year, if that is the case, and it is to be Ross County, that I would probably fancy the Championship side over the Premiership side, given that poor form.
Yeah, the guys in here are nodding their heads.
Absolutely agree. They're in free fall and they're just hanging on here. Nearly conceded another one there. They're just hanging on.
Did Libby beat them in the Scottish Cup earlier in the season? Am I thinking of the wrong season altogether? Possibly I am. But I know certainly Ross County's record against Livingston, having done some of their TV stuff now over COVID, their record against Livingston, Ross County, is very, very poor over a number of years. So that's something Davy Martindale, I'm sure, will tap into, because some of those players are still there.
Yeah, Livingston went out of the cup, didn't they, to St John's, that wonder goal, wasn't it? The Carey wonder goal was in BBC Scotland, I think, that game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Rory, see when you're on, let's have your Player of the Year and honourable mention.
Player of the Year
again, almost.
Right, Alan, we'll go to you quickly first.
Yeah, it's a really... It all starts. St Johnson have got a corner. Lauren Shanklin chests it back to the keeper, then he's on his bike. Forrest gets the ball thrown to him. And honestly, Shanklin's up the other end. He's playing with a man in confidence, hits it just wide.
Rory, Player of the Year and honourable mention.
Yes, Player of the Year, Dyson Maeda. Not a lot I can add to what the guys have already said. He's by far and away the best player in the country. I have to say, I disagree with a lot of what Peter Grant said at the top of the show. I think his deliveries into the box on Saturday were unbelievable. I think he's got 10 assists for the season, and Ida should have been on the end of a few. Moving on to my honourable mention, I think Dundee United, I watched a lot of them in the early season. I think Vico Savelj, having played 38 games this season, a couple of goals, played in centre midfield and centre back, has been an absolute standout for them.
And actually, Tom, remind me, it was a busy old day and it seems a long time ago. Was that who the United fan went for? Was it Savelj, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, and we picked our team of the week, a team of the season a few weeks ago, and had Chevelle in the middle of the park. He's done well. He's been terrific.
Sorry, right. Kenny, I was just confirming I wasn't going off my head. Livingston beat Ross County 3-2.
Oh, right.
In Dingwall in the Scottish Cup earlier in the season, so they were certainly not fair going up there to play. Absolutely not.
That seems about 5 seasons ago, by the way.
I know. I think they've actually done it a couple of seasons, Tom. That's why it stuck in my mind. I think they've done it last season. Well, they done it when Derek Adams was in charge.
Do you know,
remember him?
It's felt like listen. No matter how many times in this studio when we had a wee point to go through playing the trails, and every trail finished with a Derek Adams, and I kid you not, I don't know about you guys out and about, but I can tell you it's the same. I mean, that, Kenny. Honestly, Leanne in particular in this studio, every single time we didn't tire of it. Do you know what? Seeing Saturday, let's dig out one wee bit just to finish us off. So what do you think?
You know, I mean, look at Ross County now. I mean, maybe Derek was right all along.
Right, let's dig that one out. Alan Preston, Player of the Year, honourable mention.
Dyson Maeda, like everyone else, and James Penrice. I think he's been the best left back in Scotland. I think he's he's been consistent defensively in a side that struggled. His assists have been tremendous. So for me, James Penrice, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was in the Scotland squad, which gets named in a few days.
Good shout there from Alan Preston. Let's get to Cammy Bell. Who would you go for, Cammy?
Mine's just got to be the same as the guys. Dyson Maeda, I think he's an exciting player. He's been brilliant. I think he's improved. His end product's improved this season, so he's mine. And I would say Nicky Cadden. I like him every time he plays with Hibs. Again, when Hibs were struggling, I've seen his energy, his enthusiasm, his quality he's got for the team. So I would give him a mention as well.
Great shout, Cammy. Definitely the best left-sided player in the Edinburgh this season.
Is there a delay on my line still?
Yeah, good shout there from Cammy and from Stephen again. Cammy Kerr, who would you go for?
Yeah, same as the guys. It's no surprise I'm Dyson Maeda as Player of the Year, and I agree with Cammy Bell as well. I think I wrote down at the start of the show, Nicky Cadden's been excellent for Hibs. He came in, I don't know if it was the January transfer window, and he's really galvanised Hibs. He's a player that's obviously went down south and came back, and he's came back a much better player, and that's not giving him a discredit to what he was before, but he's really helped kick Hibs on, and he's a major part of what they've done this season. Yeah,
it was last summer that he signed, and actually if we think about a game being a catalyst, we keep going back to that game, the late equaliser against Aberdeen. I think if we think it's a player being a catalyst, I know what you're saying about Bashiri, but I think when Cadden got introduced to the team, things also changed for Hibs. So some great shouts to the guys. His
attitude, Kenny, though, that's what I've seen. I can always just remember his facial expressions, his attitude. He's willing to win the game of football, and just his energy, it was great.
Yeah, he's been a terrific sign, and we'll get Willie Millers in just a few seconds' time. Willie is up at Pittodrie for us this evening. Time for a choice of listening once again. Stick with us on BBC Sounds 92 to 95 FM for open all mics. For full commentary of Aberdeen against Celtic, tune to Radio Scotland Extra Digital and 810 medium wave. Both options available online, bbc.co.uk/Sport Scotland.
Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome back from Pittodrie, or good evening if you're just joining us. Liam McLeod and Peter Grant here with you on BBC Radio Scotland Extra on digital on 810 medium wave as Aberdeen prepare to kick off the second half, trailing Celtic by 2-1. Shooting left to right in the second half in the red and white, Celtic in the green and white hoops, and Palaversa rolls it back to Dorrington. A big blow for Aberdeen right on the stroke of half-time, with Yang scoring what was his third goal against Aberdeen, more than he's managed against anyone else in Scotland so far, and albeit he's not been a regular starter for Celtic, but 3 he's managed against the Dons as Sinisalo picks up, goes to Trusty. No changes for either team at the half-time interval as Sinisalo gets it again and clears straight to Leighton Clarkson, gets it through to Papi Gay at the edge of the box. Then Keskinen, his efforts deflected behind for a corner. And Stephen McLean spotted. Eventually, looked like he was set to point for a goal kick there, but it's an Aberdeen corner in the opening minute of the second half. And Clarkson's already out there to take an in-swinger with the right boot. And they hit back immediately at the start of the second half here, Aberdeen. Shooting towards the King Street, Merkland Road end. In from Clarkson, and then it's knocked away in the 6-yard line by Ralston. Picked up by Yang, who knocks it through looking for Johnny Kenny, who goes down. No foul though, says the referee. And now it's with Shayden Morris darting forward up towards the edge of the Celtic box. Rolls it to the right for Dorrington. Low ball across, no takers. And it will go behind the goal kick to Celtic, but it has been a positive start to the second half.
Yeah, well,
by Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's interesting, Liam, you're saying that, because even for the kick-off, they put 4 or 5 players wide and then ran forward and put the ball right in the corner and then put Celtic under pressure for there. We've been saying that all the first half, that the more they play forward, they look a better side. Once they start knocking it about, they're just giving Celtic mouth-watering opportunities.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Celtic by far the best team in the country, and even though it's not quite the B team, but it's obviously been short of most of their regular starters. Here come Aberdeen with Palaversa, couldn't get it through to Jensen, cut out by Schlupp. Papi Gay finds Morris, the edge of the box. Step over, looking for Nisbet, delayed it too long. Made it obvious what he was going to do, and Trusty blocks it. One back by Clarkson over on the far side. Infield to Palaversa. He then gets it out to the touchline for Shinnie. The difficult first half, the Aberdeen captain against James Forrest. Ralston easily nicks it off Keskinen. Sinisalo rolls it to the left of his box here for Trusty. Side football up the touchline for Yang, back to Bernardo and then to Trusty. Infield to McGregor and then out to Ralston over on the right hand side. Celtic attacking the beach end in the second half, and it's James Forrest darting down the right hand side up against Shinnie, the 2 veterans. He's pulled it back here for McCowan. He takes a touch, sits a defender down and rifles it home into the top reverse left corner of the net to send the Celtic supporters wild on the far side. Luke McCowan with an outstanding goal, and it's Aberdeen 1, Celtic 3 into the second half.
I think you touched on it with Graham Shinnie and James Forrest. He ran away from there as if he wasn't there. And he does fantastic well, but what he does remarkably well, he lifts his head, just lays it back. Luke McCowan takes a great first touch, steadies himself and bang, in at the top corner. But all credit to James Forrest. But a lovely touch by Luke McCowan. But yet again, as I said about Celtic, they just play at that pace. It doesn't allow Aberdeen to get back. So every time they turn the ball over, and that's what happened in the halfway line, and James Forrest first thought, let me run it, Graham Shinnie. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, Celtic's goal scoring this season has been outstanding, and that's another 3. They've actually scored 44 goals more than Rangers have. That's an incredible difference between the top 2 in the division. I can't imagine there's that kind of disparity in too many divisions across the continent. But it's another one for Celtic. It's yet another game where they have scored 3 goals. That's been happening plenty this campaign as well. And that all came off the back of a positive start to the second half by Aberdeen. Suddenly they're 2 goals down against the champions. And there's Forrest, almost got it through to Kenny. It rolls all the way through to Mitov.
But yeah, again, James Forrest is Graham Shinnie. He needs a little bit of help now. Keskinen's staying a little bit high against Tony Ralston, which is allowing James a lot of space. I would say to Keskinen, just drop 5 yards to stop the ball in. Leave Tony Ralston with the ball, because what you don't want is James Forrest 1v1 with Graham Shinnie, because they're only waiting in trouble then, I think.
This is now the 31st game. This is Celtic's 57th of the season. 31st where they've scored 3 or more. Here's Graham Shinnie pulling it back to Nisbet, the edge of the Celtic box, where they wouldn't sit for him, and it's clear by Nawrocki. And Dorrington with a header away, breaks to McGregor, who leaves it for Bernardo, and back it comes to Trusty.
But you spoke on it there, you look at the goal scorers throughout Celtic's midfield, you know, that tells you enough. The wide players amount of goals.
So Aberdeen have it back here. Morris is in the box onto the right. He shoots. He forces the save from Sinisalo. Pulled across by Morris and clear by Nawrocki. Aberdeen can't get the ball in the net there. Celtic get it clear. Out to Yang on this left-hand side. Cuts in field from Jensen, looking for Kenny. Mitov commits himself. Does he get some of the ball? Kenny went to ground. He grabs it in the second attempt. I think he did, in fairness. Get plenty of the ball ultimately as he pulls it straight into touch for a Celtic throw-in.
To be fair to Kenny, he never played for the penalty. You know, Mitov does very well.
Yeah, it's good goalkeeping.
Absolutely, he done very well getting out there, because he had to get the timing right. There's no doubt of that. But you can just see Celtic ramping up again. Aberdeen had a chance here. It was good defended by Celtic by Nawrocki. But Aberdeen have got to be very, very careful, as you said earlier on, if it comes down to goal difference, because they're leaving spaces at the back. Celtic just seem to be cutting them open at will.
Yeah, it might come down to goal difference, but for that to be the case, of course, they would need Rangers to beat Dundee United tonight, and then it might be, if United win on Saturday, that goal difference comes into it. But this isn't the Celtic starting 11. It's going to start the Scottish Cup final. It's going to be a stronger Celtic starting 11 that will be starting that game on that big Hampden pitch. And the Aberdeen supporters, with every Celtic goal that goes in tonight, the more worried they're going to get. And here comes Luke McCowan driving forward again to Forrest on the right, inside the box, on the left foot, shoots, saved by the booter Mitov, and then on the rebound over the bar. And it will remain 3-1. It was Johnny Kenny, 6 yards from goal. And it goes over, and it's a goal kick to Aberdeen, but it is 3-1 to Celtic on 52 minutes.
Yes, now look, it's only 3-1 to be perfectly honest with you. James Forrest, every time he gets it, he's so positive, and it's just dragging Celtic right up the back. And to be fair, Aberdeen can't get out at this moment in time.
Yeah, and what a waste it might turn out to be, because St Mirren have levelled against Hibs, 2-2 in Paisley now. With that third Celtic goal right now, looks like ending Aberdeen's hopes of top 3. As I mentioned, Peter, they're going to be coming up against an even more dangerous animal in that cup final.
Absolutely, you know, and that's, listen, you know what Celtic are like, you know the players that they have. The thing that's impressed me more about them tonight, they've been great on the ball, but see, off the ball, they've got 4 or 5 boys round the ball who're so hungry, and it's amazing how they can all keep that competitive edge. That's the difference with top players.
Here comes Celtic driving down the middle, then out to the left for McCowan. The byline, it's the cross in, and there's number 4, and it's Johnny Kenny's first for the club with the header. It's a couple of yards out. It's a great ball in from the left-hand side. Kenny meets it right in front of Mitov, knocks it home, and on 53 minutes in this Scottish Cup final dress rehearsal, and so worryingly for Aberdeen, with so much of the game still to play, it is Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4.
It was fantastic play down the left-hand side. You know, Luke McCowan just runs away. As I say, talking about Celtic being positive, Luke McCowan makes a great run from midfield, gets to the side of the pitch, but then puts a wonderful pass in. But young Kenny does magic. He goes behind the defender first and then comes in front of him. So his timing's excellent. It's a fantastic header, but a great ball in with Luke McCowan, and a fantastic finish for the young man, something he'll remember for the rest of his days.
Yeah, it's a huge moment for him, and he's been desperate to get that first Celtic goal. It arrives And you'll be delighted with that, because I think even, Brendan Rodgers wants to see him do well. He wants this guy to be a success story here.
You can see he's a goal scorer. You can see that in all the games, even he's come on. He's got that hunger to score. There's obviously things he's got to learn about the game. He scored a few goals, obviously, in Ireland. But when you're playing for Celtic, it's completely different. As you speak about Adam Ida and that, when you're a Celtic number 9, you have to do it week in, week out. That's the challenge to the young man, because everybody keeps talking about getting another striker next season. So where does that push him further down the line? So what all he can do is exactly what he's done there, is put the ball in the back of the net and give the manager a problem.
Slight silver lining for Aberdeen is that Rangers have gone in front against Dundee United at Ibrox. Cyril Desser's second of the evening. This one's from the penalty spot. Rangers 2, Dundee United 1. So as things stand, albeit Aberdeen are heading for a heavy defeat on their own turf, with floods of their supporters heading out of the stadium already. If that game at Ibrox ends in a Rangers victory, it's still in their own hands for 4th. And they go to Tannadice on Saturday. But the reality of this situation for Aberdeen right now is that this scoreline could get a whole lot worse. And it's Forrest again on the right hand side, pushing it into the Aberdeen box. It comes right through to Mitov. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4 at Pittodrie.
Yes, it's very difficult for him, because like I say, Forrest isn't fire at this the way he started the second half, there's no doubt that. But you've got Luke McCowan showing the experience he's had in the playing in the Scottish game, making the runs forward, which we felt in the first half Celtic didn't do enough. Everything was in front of Aberdeen at times. Now he's started to do that, has given him a massive problem. But James Forrest has started the second half wonderfully well.
Yeah, he's looking like a man on a mission. Rangers have gone 3-1 up now against Dundee United. As Clarkson looks to get it through to Keskinen, headed away by Nawrocki. It's 2 goals early in the second half. Bit of Celtic in cruise control. As Trusty picks up and finds Schlupp down this left-hand side. He drives up towards the halfway line and then Gage just hauls him down, and he'll be booked, and that'll be a free kick to Celtic.
Yeah, and that's the one thing you don't want. Jimmy Tellino be down there, not want players ordered off or anything like that. We want to keep all the players on the pitch. I think you've got to be careful with Graham Shinnie at this moment in time. If he's playing at left back, it's a problem for him.
He's coming off. He's had a horrible night. Jack McKenzie's going to replace him. Jack Milne's going to come on for Mats Canuster, as Jimmy Tillane tries to sort his defence out. My goodness, they've been torn asunder here.
Yeah, it's been a real difficult start to the second half for them. And I felt for Graham Shinnie, because I don't think he was getting support, because it's okay being Keskinen staying up and going to have a go at Celtic, but you've got to help your full back at times. And especially when you've seen Forrest the way he was, you should have put yourself, as I say, 5-6 yards further back the pitch to help him. But yet Graham should have been saying that as well. He's experienced enough. That's one thing you'd have been saying. You'd have been pulling him back with the hair, never mean anything else, to come back to help you.
Here comes Celtic again. Bernardo is ball forward, cut out by Dorrington. It's with Morris, central area, outside of the boot, finds Keskinen, and he goes across the halfway line. McGregor for company. It's the latest, it looks like the latest heavy defeat for Aberdeen in this fixture. I mean, a 5-1 and a 6-0 already this season. Last season there was a 6-0. Season before there was a 5-0 and a 4-0. Real inferiority complex when it comes to facing Celtic in particular, as St Mirren go 3-2 up against Hibs. Mikael Mandron continuing his good goal scoring run. Hibs were 2-0 up. St Mirren now lead 3-2. And whilst the gap between, if it stays that way, Hibs and Aberdeen would remain at 3 points, Hibs' goal difference is in a different league. So Aberdeen can forget it. This incoming defeat against the champions is going to finish it off. And then you start looking back at the 2-2 draw with Rangers, which saw them 2-0 up but toss away a 2-0 lead against 10 men. The St Mirren goal, after all I've just said, has just been disallowed, so forget about all that. It stays 2-2 in Paisley. Thank you, VAR. As Nawrocki picks up right to the centre circle and finds Trusty, who goes across the halfway line, out to Yang on this left-hand side. Yang cuts in field. Midway point, the Aberdeen half, infield to McCowan, then to Schlupp wide on the left, drives it in, clear by Jack Milne, headed on by Nisbet, and now with Nawrocki, Gay wins it back off him. It's too little in the day though, as Nisbet knocks it through to Keskinen, and another poor decision as he touches it straight off Ralston. Breaks to Papi Gay at the edge of the Celtic box, then he chips it to absolutely nobody, and behind for a goal kick, and it stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4 in the 60th minute.
You can just see the Aberdeen obviously supporters are frustrated. They get the break. Guy, I don't understand what he's tried there. I mean, Clarkson's made a magnificent run to the back post. He's all clear, and he just clips it by the post at the back post. Like that little bit of quality, and every time Celtic go forward, they look like scoring.
There's a challenge on this near side by Kevin Nisbet, who was effectively in the right back position there. And he was out for a throw-in to Celtic, who are going to make a change here, and, well, if Aberdeen thought it was getting any better. Callum McGregor is coming off. He's going to get a rest for the last half hour. But this place is going to Reo Hatate. He got the winner between them when they last met here at Pittodrie. And the other one coming on is the first choice right back, Alistair Johnston. So strength and depth we know, but when they started with a few players who are not regular starters tonight, he's able to bring on the regular starters.
Well, that's exactly what I said to Liam. I think Celtic have got the best two teams in the division, and that's, I'm not being disrespectful to anyone, I just think that's the case. You've spoke about that there. Alistair Johnston comes on.
I mean, look what the effective second best team's done to Aberdeen here tonight.
Absolutely, and that's the point I'm making. Listen, you've got to be fair, and I think that's where Celtic win it in the training ground, because of the competitive edge they've all got, the quality of the players they've got. If they can keep them all fit, these results are no surprise to me.
Celtic come again, Johnston on the right, infield it comes, and then there's a shot at goal immediately from Hatate. Tests Mitov, who makes a relatively comfortable save, but you can see there the instant impact just about from the two subs are just on Johnston and Hatate.
Well, that's the thing, no matter who they put on, it doesn't drop the standard. I think that's the difference that Celtic have, and that's the point I'm trying to make. When you're watching they get to 60 minutes, they put a Hatate on, or if he starts, to bring on a Bernardo, all these sort of things, and that makes a hell of a difference.
Morris for Aberdeen in a bit of space on this right hand side. Schlupp for company now, level with the 6-yard line, and it comes, he can't quite fight Nisbet, but it's brilliantly defended by Alistair Johnston. He's got the skipper's armband now as well. No Carter Vickers tonight either, of course. Morris down the right for Aberdeen, driving to the byline. Can he keep it in? Pulls it back, half away by Celtic. It's to Palaversa at the edge of the box. Back to Clarkson, who shoots, scuffs it. It's blocked by Nawrocki anyway. Palaversa knocks it back to Dorrington. 4-1 Celtic, 62 played. Clarkson then rolls it out to the left-hand side for Jack McKenzie, probably making his final appearance for Aberdeen at Pittodrie. Big switch out to Jensen, controls in the chest level with the Celtic penalty spot. Now Papi Gay for Jensen, back to Palaversa, who loops a long high ball through to Sinisalo, who holds on with both gloves.
It looks as if Nisbet's struggling as well. He got an extra earlier on there. It doesn't seem as if he's recovered. That could be a blow for Aberdeen if you're talking about a couple of weeks away from the cup final. I'd be getting him off as quick as I can, because this game's dead.
It's dead, it's gone. It has. Jensen has it midway inside his own half, and then to Clarkson as well to fire it out to the left hand side for McKenzie. McKenzie cuts in field, then rolls it back to Clarkson, and then the ball moved from left to right of the centre circle for Dorrington, swept out to Morris on this near side, taking on Schlupp, level with the 18-yard line, and then back it comes to Dorrington. There's a lot of empty red seats now though, as Milne picks up edge of the centre circle and then uses the outside of the boot to knock it out to McKenzie wide on the left. Cuts it back infield for Keskinen, but he's facing away from goal. Rolls it back to Milne, into the centre circle for Palaversa, and a square ball to Dorrington. Out to Morris, he's away from Schlupp. Shaden Morris has sprung to life all of a sudden, level with the 6-yard line. Back to Jensen, whose tame efforts easily held on to by Sinisalo. Stays Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4.
To be fair to Morris, I think he's gave Schlupp a bit of a hard time actually. He showed him the ball a few times and ran away from him, which is surprising, because I've been impressed with Schlupp when he's played with Celtic. just that final ball, but not enough bodies in the box. I can understand Nisbet struggling there, but they don't leave one man in the box when Morris goes by. They'll never score.
Well, this would be Aberdeen's heaviest home defeat since a 4-0 against Celtic. 4-0 on the 27th of October 2019. That was 4-0. This is 4-1. As Alistair Johnston picks up on that right-hand side. Low ball forward is cut out by Milne, who clears it with the left foot. Nawrocki will try and keep it alive. He got Celtic's first goal this evening. Out to Johnston and then back infield. Nawrocki in his own half finds Bernardo, then to Nawrocki as we approach 65 minutes. And I think Nicholas Kuhn and Adam Ida are going to be next on. Here comes Celtic again. Dorrington prevents it getting through to Kenny. The Dons are going to bring on Ode Dabag, which will be reaction to Peter's comment a couple of minutes ago about Kevin Nisbet. It's McCowan in the midfield. Out it comes to Yang. Infield to Hatate for Schlup. To Hatate's wonderful play, and it comes and held on to by Mitov. And it's brilliant build-up play by Celtic again. Luke McCowan's had a fine evening. I don't think Yang has done himself any disservice either. Morris runs straight into a Celtic player, but he's fortunate to win it back. It's Jensen for Morris. Goes back to Dorrington and then to Mitov. I think what Yimi Tillin would have wanted tonight was for his Aberdeen players to put on a performance and get a result. It would give them some kind of hope of causing an upset in the Scottish Cup final. All that's happened tonight is it's made perhaps a lot of the supporters dread what might be coming at Hampden a week on Saturday.
Yeah, I think they've been frightened from the start. I think you can see that the way they set up the strikers being so deep against Callum McGregor. And I always think you've got to show, especially Aberdeen at Pittodrie, you've got to say, let's have a go, make Celtic defend, put them under pressure. For me, they knocked the ball about too many times at the back, too many times they were square. Celtic keep stealing it off them. We said at the time it was only a matter of time before Celtic scored, and that's exactly the way it has, and it's turned into a carnival really for Celtic. But their attitude, the Celtic players' attitude, has been outstanding without the ball, and I think that'll be the biggest thing that'll please Brendan more than anything. They know they have the quality, but what's your work ethic going to get? You've won the league. What are you fighting for? Can you show you're a top player? And that's what these boys have done. And he's got a young man making his debut scoring a goal, so it's been the perfect night for Celtic so far.
Schlup down the left-hand side, level of the Aberdeen 18-yard line. It's been pinched off him by Antti Palaversa. He turns it back to Clarkson. He squares it to Milne. I think Clarkson's got the captaincy now with Shinnie off. Here's Clarkson's long ball looking for Morris, but he's asking too much of him. He comes all the way through to Sinisalo. Worryingly for Aberdeen, there's still a quarter of this match to play.
Yeah, and it's not too bad subs as you mentioned, on Kuhn and Ida. You know, that's why I think Brendan's built this squad, that they're fighting with each other daily, and I think that's important for them, because that keeps them saying, well, I have to stay at a certain level, and it just shows you the quality they have throughout the group when they're all fit.
And they're now just one goal short of matching the club record for goals in a league season, which was set by Jock Stein's European Cup winners in 66-67 at 111, because that fourth goal scored by Johnny Kenny was their 110th of the Premiership season.
Incredible, you know, and listen, as I say, it's the attitude. We talk about keeping possession, but you've got to have forward runners, you've got to have forward movement. No matter what possession you have, it doesn't count. It's putting the ball in the back of the net. It's every time Celtic have an opportunity to go forward, they go forward.
I mean, that record could go tonight, in all honesty. As Yang makes his way into the box, Jensen with the challenge. Breaks back to Yang, left angle of the box. Schlup now with Hatate at the edge of the area. Knocks it back there to McCowan, and then over to the right, Nawrocki for Johnston. Johnston now level with the Aberdeen 6-yard line. Fires the cross in, it's quite a deep one. Jensen will have to be careful. And he's managed to keep it in play. I think he would have been happy to settle for the corner being given away there, but he's actually done a bit better than that, as that's pumped away by Dorrington up towards Papi Gay, who I think will be off shortly. Jamie McGrath, Odi Dabag waiting to come on, but here's a chance for Yang. Jensen's nowhere to be seen. His low ball in is cleared by Milne, and behind for a Celtic corner now. They lead 4-1 to the champions with about 21 to play, and here come the changes. Aberdeen firstly, Nisbet off, replaced by Dabag. And Jamie McGrath is going to come on, but it is not for Pappy Gay, it is for Shayden Morris. So those are the two Aberdeen changes. For them, I don't suppose it matters too much now. But the frustration for them, I don't know, look, it doesn't matter, as you say, if it's the Celtic B team that go out there, it's still top-class players. Bernardo signed for about £4 or £5 million. That's kind of standard you're talking about here. But that scoreline in Paisley, if that finishes a draw, or even if St Mirren win that game, it's 2-2 right now, then Aberdeen will have a lot of regret, because that would have taken the third place fight into the last weekend. As it stands, it's gone.
That's what surprised me with the way they played in the first period, because that sets the standard for the rest of your game for me. They never looked forward. I keep saying that. They looked as if they were more frightened to win the game. It was how they were going to stop Celtic, instead of saying, well, how can we hurt Celtic? And I think if they'd have done that, they'd have got a couple of opportunities, especially when you've got a new back four in place. You've got a goalkeeper. Obviously, it's not your number one choice consistently, so you'd have full back four playing probably together for the first time ever and never asked any questions of them. So Aberdeen will be very, very disappointed, but you can't take anything away from Celtic.
Celtic corner, Bernardo takes, bounces in the box, breaks out to the right-hand side of the area here for Johnston, fires it towards goal, and Mitov holds on in the effort, which might have been McCowan actually who got the shot away. In fact, it was Luke McCowan. And we'll stay 4-1 to Celtic. Rangers 3-1 up on Dundee United. Nicholas Raskin made it 3-1 that game, just about finished. 2-2 in Paisley. 6 minutes to the 90 left in that one. Dundee 1, Ross County 0 remains the scoreline there. County in big trouble. That Scott Tiffany goal. Hearts 2, St Johnstone 1. Saints pulled one back through Graham Carey. It's looking like defeat for them. Motherwell 3-0 up on 10-man Kilmarnock. Goals in 77 and 86 from Armstrong, in between that one from Callum Slattery. Cove Rangers 1, Airdrieonians 2 in that championship playoff final first leg. Lewis Strapp with the potentially decisive goal on the night. Celtic have it in the midfield here, and it's McCowan looking to get it out to the far side for Kuhn. Sliding in was Keskinen to win it back in Palaversa, and then that's passed back to Milne, and then to Mitov. Rolls it to his right for Dorrington. Approaching 72 minutes here, the 8 o'clock kickoff. Long ball forward, looking for Keskinen. Headed away by Johnston. McGrath wins it back for Aberdeen at the edge of the box. Finds Keskinen, his shot charged down well by Nawrocki. And behind for the corner, and that slide block there has drawn applause from Brendan Rodgers down below us.
I think that sums Celtic up. You know, they're 4-1 up. It's easy not to put your body on the line to get a block in, but Mike Nawrocki, what does he do? Goes and makes sure they're not getting a goal. And that's the desire and the commitment that Brendan will be delighted with. As you say, maybe not the first choice players, but they want to show the manager that they can do a job.
Clarkson's in-swinging corner coming up from the far side. There's 6 or 7 players in the 6-yard box need to make a nuisance here, and it comes towards Gay, who heads it away from goal. Back out it comes to Clarkson though, and then it comes again, flicked away by Ida, and then Bernardo Nixon ahead of Dabag, infield to Schlupp, and then cleared up towards the halfway line where Jensen will meet it, but Kuhn's all over him. Jensen turns it back to Mitov. Short ball for Milne, and then out to Jensen on this near side. Celtic finish with a home game against St Mirren on Saturday. They'll then get the trophy, the second of what they will hope will be 3 pieces of silverware this season. Aberdeen go away to Dundee United. Their away form's been woeful this season. Mackenzie wins a corner. They've only taken 2 points off other top 6 teams away from home this campaign. One of those points, funnily enough, came at Celtic Park.
Yeah, and they battled so hard for that, you know, at that particular time. They were in wonderful form. You never seen this dropping in. I thought it was a real good Aberdeen side at that particular time. Just seemed to fall off a cliff, maybe trying to be too clever, I think.
Clarkson corner for Aberdeen over on the south stand side as they attack the goal to the right. And it comes, Gay looks to get onto it. It's another really good header away by Johnston. Knows exactly where to be. Yang clears into the centre circle. The ball's actually taken Mackenzie out. Now it's Forrest. His pass forwards cut out by Mackenzie. He's battling to try and win it back. He's gone in on Luke McCowan. Play on here. It's Forrest into the box. Across it comes. No takers in green and white this time. And then we'll go out for a throw into Aberdeen over on the far side. It didn't look like a great challenge. Indeed, the yellow cards come out for Jack McKenzie.
Yeah, at first I thought he was lucky actually, because I thought he went in with the studs. It'd be interesting to see it again here, because he's run at the first tackle. You see it so many times.
Yeah, the studs are up for sure.
He could be lucky.
No indication at the moment as to whether they're checking for a possible red here. Obviously everything gets checked, but I think the VAR is happy. John Beaton.
I think the only thing I would say about him, his foot was on the ground when he does it.
Right, there's drama elsewhere. They're finished at Tynecastle, 2-1 Hearts against St Johnstone. Motherwell 3, Kilmarnock 1. It is 1-0 Dundee at Dens against Ross County, but I'm hearing County have a penalty. And if that penalty goes in, St Johnstone go down tonight. In fact, that penalty has been converted. Well, that's massive. That's one of the biggest goals of the Premiership season. Ross County have equalised against Dundee at Dens Park. So St Johnstone could be saying goodbye to the Premiership, because that would put 4 points between them with just one game to play. And it comes back to Sinisalo, and there's 50 minutes of this game left, and the Aberdeen supporters having to listen to the Celtic fans olaying every pass, every successful pass. And I just get this is reminding me of the Eb Skovdahl era Aberdeen. Now, the first season that Eb Skovdahl was in charge, they finished in the lower reaches of the league. That's obviously not happening this season. But this performance at home against Celtic, and I remember the Celtic side, even under, it was under Martin O'Neill back in those days. And even before that, John Barnes and Kenny Dalglish. Remember, Eb Skovdahl said Aberdeen had no chance in the opening weekend of the season of taking anything off Celtic. Ended up losing 5-0 at home. It's had that feel about it.
Yeah, that's what surprised me here, because when I seen this Aberdeen at the start and listening to Jimmy doing his interviews and whatever, it feels as if he's a manager who wants Aberdeen to be braver in the way they play.
There's James Forrest picking up a long balls at the edge of the box, goes for goal, blocked by Milne. Still alive in the box there. McKenzie manages to get it clear.
As I say, and I don't think that they look at a team that's brave and want to go and have a go. And I say now, I think you've got to. I think St Mirren and Motherwell's had good results against Rangers because they had a go at Rangers, made Rangers defend. Aberdeen tonight should have made Celtic defend. They played in front of them, and that's food and drink for Celtic. They're quite happy. You play in front of me, we'll take the ball off you, and we'll score it well. And that's exactly what's happened.
2 goals in both halves for Celtic. 2-1 at the break. Brodsky and Nisbet traded goals. Yang managed to edge Celtic back in front before half-time. And thereafter, Celtic have taken proper command, and that's been slipped through to Edize at his heels, clipped by Dorrington. That's going to be a free kick. Was it denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity? Yes, well, the yellow's out anyway. It's a second yellow rather than the straight red. He was booked early in the game. Aberdeen down to 10. Dorrington sent off. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4.
I think he's quite lucky actually, because I think it could have been a straight red.
I thought it was going to be.
He's right in the centre of the goal as he's running through. It's a great pass and a great run by Adam Ida, who wants to get between you, as we spoke about.
It's a clear foul as well, and if he, the only thing saving him maybe is Jack Milne's presence. But Ida, I think his next thought's a shot on goal, isn't it?
I think so too. From here, it doesn't look as if Milne's going to get round. To be fair, Ida's done brilliant to get in between the lines, as we speak about, splitting the two centre backs. But it comes back to Killie, that first minute booking.
St Johnstone's 16-year stay in the top flight is over. It's finished. Dundee 1, Ross County 1. Ronan Hale's late penalty has sent St Johnstone down to the Championship, and it's given County hope that they can avoid the playoff position. Nicky Devlin waiting to come on for Aberdeen, who are now down to 10 men, and they've also got to face a free kick for Celtic, which is just about, 21, 22 yards from goal. McCowan and Bernardo are interested in it. 4-man Aberdeen wall. Which will it be? McCowan with the left or Bernardo with the right? It is Bernardo. It's off the wall, comes off Milne, and he goes behind for the corner on the far side as we head towards the final 10 minutes at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4. There's a change for the Dons, and it's Keskinen off, Devlin on. He's just trying to shore things up here and make sure that the scoreline doesn't get any worse, but I'm not convinced it won't, Peter.
Yeah, I'm the same as well. You just see the spaces and the gaps and the pace that Celtic are playing at. And you've got to, yet again, you've got to give the guys that come on the pitch, they've been ready to come on. These ones that are supposed to be the starters, they've come on and lifted it again, and they're giving Aberdeen major problems, and obviously the odd and off doesn't help them.
Short corner, now with Kuhn, rolls it back the edge of the box for Bernardo. And then back to Hatate over on the right, and then down the line where it's cut out by Clarkson, who loses it to Hatate. Hits the deep ball in, looking for Idac, going to evade everyone though and go behind for the goal kick. Celtic are going to make another change. I think young McArdle's going to get a second quick-fire appearance here, having made his debut for the club against Hibs on Saturday. Peter?
I thought he was excellent at the weekend. He came on, he was very good on the ball, comfortable, used his passing very well. I think he missed one pass in the 15 minutes he was on, so I was really impressed with him. Good understanding of the positional play, which is hard with Celtic's midfield because of the much rotation they do. They've done it very well.
This game's been done basically since the first 3 minutes of the second half when Celtic went 3-1 up.
I thought it was done, Liam, when Aberdeen started to pass square, because I just thought it was just a matter of time before Celtic hurt them. And you can see Nesbitt and that getting frustrated because they were wanting the ball beyond, because they knew that it was 1v1 situations, but Aberdeen continued to play square.
All over at Ibrox, Rangers 3, Dundee United 1, so the Dons at least will have the 3-point advantage going into the game on Saturday. It does mean that 4th place could be secured with a draw there. Not that they'll settle for that, but we do have the added advantage of the fact a draw would do them. Dundee United have gone in a bit of a tailspin themselves recently, despite the fact they led that one tonight. So Cleo Harding, a double from Dessers, one from Raskin, and Rangers win 3-1, their final home game of the season. Deep into stoppage time in Paisley, St Mirren 2, Hibs 2. All bottom 6 matches are over. Hearts 2, St Johnstone 1. And that, coupled with Dundee 1, Ross County 1, sends St Johnstone down to the Championship. Motherwell beat Kilmarnock 3-0. Dees was sent off in the first half. A double from Armstrong, one from Slattery. Motherwell win 3-0. Their final opportunity to get the 3 points at Fir Park. There's Hatate, he's got it into Ida, and his shot saved by Mitov. The rebound picked up by Kuhn. I'll have to say Adam Ida will be disappointed he's not scored there. Here goes Kuhn leading the Aberdeen defence. A merry dance down the right, no penalty, he went down. Aberdeen clear. Out on the far side, it will be a throw-in only. Will the VAR stop play to look at replays of it? No suggestion of that at the moment. Indeed, Celtic have got the game back underway.
But it was wonderful play with Celtic. Young McArdle played a fantastic pass to Rio Hatate. And to be fair, Adam Ida's hit it as well as he possibly can. Anywhere else, it's in the back of the net. Fantastic strike. Yes, he'll be disappointed he's not scored, but I think he couldn't have done much better.
Another Celtic free kick at the edge of the Aberdeen box. This one's more central. This time it's won by Hatate. 7 minutes of the 90 left. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4. Taken quickly, moved out to the right. Johnston with the cross ball in, and it almost came to Forrest, flicked away. Hatate, left hand side of the box, drives it across, and blocked by Devlin and cleared out for a Celtic throw-in on this near side. This is absolute torture for the Aberdeen fans who are left here.
Yeah, it's so difficult because you've got the guys coming on for the side of the pitch, been excellent since they come on. They've all had an input in the game. Johnson's defending, McArdle's touch, Hatate. They're just desperate for James Forrest to get that goal now, and that'd be the perfect night for Celtic.
Across, blocked by Jensen, cleared by Palaversa. And into the Celtic half it goes for Sinisalo. Well, this is another pointer towards that Scottish Cup final. It's an extremely sobering one for the Aberdeen fans. Johnston down the right hand side to Kuhn, level with the Don 6-yard line. It's to the byline, little ball infield to Johnston, back to Kuhn at the right angle of the box. In comes the cross, headed away by Milne. Tabag loses it, it's not a great touch. Hatate wins it back and finds Schlup. It goes back to Nawrocki, squares it to the left of the circle for Schlup, and then to Trusty. Infield to Schlup, rolls it to Nawrocki, then out to that right hand touchline for Johnston. Attacking the Aberdeen box, the right angle of it. His ball across is cut out by McKenzie. Celtic will just come again here. Hatate, square to Trusty. There's Trusty against the 10 men of Aberdeen who had Dorrington ordered off. Dorrington will now miss the game at Tannadice on Saturday, as Forrest picks up down the left-hand side. He goes level with the Aberdeen 6-yard line. Little ball to Schlup, drives it across, and it just nicks away from Kuhn and breaks out to that right-hand side. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4. Final 5 of the 90. McCardle at the edge of the box, goes under the feet of Forrest. It will break to Schlup though. Shoots it goal, might well have clipped the top of the bar there on its way over. And it will stay Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4.
I'm so surprised Schlup doesn't hit the target. I'll tell you who's lucky there, the boy Guy. He pulled Kuhn down, and the referee seen it. And if he was fortunate enough it went to a Celtic player, because he'd have been ordered off. Jimmy Jalene's got to be very, very careful of that, because it's another player he would lose. The referee done Aberdeen a favour there.
Goal kick, Dimitar Mitov will take all over in Paisley. St Mirren 2, Hibs 2. That point enough to secure third place for Hibernian. First time since Jack Ross was a manager. They've only managed it a handful of times since the turn of the century. But Hibs have finished third. And if Celtic go on to lift the Scottish Cup, and you would expect them to do so, particularly when you see this here tonight, as Gay tries to hack the ball away from Hatate, and he's caught a lot of the Celtic midfielder there, and the referee had previously awarded the free kick for Celtic for an earlier infringement. And if Celtic were to go on and lift the cup, all those European spoils, we go to Easter Road. Aberdeen still have the chance to take them all, but you just can't see it, Peter. You cannot see a shock in that cup final going by what we've seen here tonight.
No, you cannot, but the Aberdeen team I seen the last time playing Celtic in the semi-final was a completely different team, obviously.
Last season's Scottish Cup semi, not this season's League Cup semi.
Yeah, no, exactly. You seen the surprise that day. I thought Aberdeen played very well, but obviously a changed group of players.
There was also a group of players that had Bojan Miovski at the top of it.
Yeah, and the thing is, but listen, Miovski could have been playing up front tonight. If you don't play the ball forward, you're causing yourself problems. Celtic are much better than anybody else at closing the ball down, so why would you play square in areas of the pitch that you're not good enough to do it? I just don't understand it, and there's massive. I know Celtic pushed to the halfway line, but then that's when your midfielders have got to run beyond it, but they're so deep and worried about not getting beat and losing goals, it causes a massive problem. So if they keep,
do you think that was the problem from the start of the game for Aberdeen tonight? Yeah,
yes.
They were scared to lose the match rather than trying to win it.
100%. That's what it looked as if we're not going to get beat by Celtic, so let's make it difficult to beat and let's try and do them in a counter-attack. For me, that's fine if you want to do that defensively when you've not got the ball, for sure. But see, when you've got the ball, you've got to pass forward. Aberdeen kept passing back and square, and Celtic were like, oh, your beauty. Their eyes were lighting up as if the more often you do that, we're going to steal it off you. And sure as fate, time after time, they gave the ball away, and it's ended up being the score is, and it could have been more. It could have been more. We know that. It could have been much, much more.
Tate's still stopping the play here as he's receiving treatment. He's off the pitch now. So game on again. It's 10 against 10 right now.
I think that was a bad one he got, by the way. I think that could be his media layer, because his leg was open and his guys kicked the ball. Hatate was slack on his knee, and right away he's went for his knee. I'm just hoping it's not as bad as it could be.
4 minutes will be added on top of the minute and a half that remain right now. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4. They are working on Hatate off the pitch. Celtic have it. Nawrocki squares it to Trusty on the left hand side of the centre circle, into Nawrocki, and out to Johnston over on the right. Down the line for McCardle. McCardle on the turn, touches it back there to the right hand side, but Johnston swings the cross in, headed away by Jack Milne. Palaversa tries to chest it back to Clarkson, who clears but only as far as Bernardo, who moves it out to the right for Johnston. Back to McArdle. It's past to Kuhn, to McArdle, the edge of the box, shoots, saved by Mitov. Good effort, breaks to Forrest. You can hear the Celtic supporters willing him to score. Just to touch it back though to Trusty, and then in field to McArdle. Out it comes to Forrest on the left-hand side of the Aberdeen box, drops the shoulder, cuts back on his right side, rolls it to the edge of the box. Bernardo, he's going to shoot a goal, it's over the bar. Mitov was at full stretch, he didn't know where it was going. Deep in the 90th minute, it remains 10-man Aberdeen 1, Celtic 4.
I'll tell you what, Liam, since young McArdle come on, he's been outstanding.
Yeah.
He's not giving the ball away, his touch has been excellent, he's seen pictures that others don't see.
He's not overawed for a 17-year-old,
I've
is he?
seen that on Saturday, I watched him on Saturday, and that was the thing that really impressed me with him. I think he touched the ball about 7 or 8 times, and 7 of them he gave to a Celtic player, but good passes, you know, breaking the lines, creating chances and opportunities, and he's done that since he came on. So these are the types of players they're trying to bring.
Tate's off with ice on his knee.
That looked a bad one. Good. I'm hoping it's not a medial, because that is a sore one, that. And that would only disappointing thing out the night for Brendan.
And Celtic will finish the match with 10 players. To bag up the other end. It's back with Jamie McGrath. Down to the corner flag, his ball across, cut out by Bernardo and cleared by Schlupp. In Aberdeen, the whole game, almost since the third Celtic goal, has been contested in the half to our left here, the Celtic attacking half.
Yeah, listen, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if who you're up front. If you don't play the ball forward, don't get out, don't get the support. And as I say, used to say they play the jersey, and that used to come to Aberdeen, you knew you were under pressure, you were going to be under pressure in periods of the games. I've just not seen that at all from any of the Aberdeen at any time in the game, really.
It's been passive again from them.
Yes.
There's Kuhn forward towards Ida, holding off Devlin, the right angle of the box. Still with Ida, and his effort trickles by the right-hand post. We played one of the 4 minutes that were added on at the end.
Yeah, you're right.
Reminder, St Johnstone relegated this evening. Came up under Derek McInnes in 2009. Their longest stint as a top-flight club comes to an end after the defeat at Tynecastle, coupled with the 1-1 draw between Dundee and Ross County. And there's plenty of Aberdeen supporters away because the Seagulls are swooping already, and normally it's about 15-20 minutes after full time that you see that happening as they come down for the leftover pies.
I just think they've seen enough.
No, this hasn't been a contest, that's the problem.
Yeah, that would be disappointing. They want to go with some hope getting into the cup final. At this moment in time, they'll be looking at maybe a bit, as you said earlier on, fear more than hope. And that's always a disappointment. But listen, I've always said treble's not difficult to win because cup ties are difficult to win. And on the day, you just have to turn up. What I've seen tonight, you can only see one winner for sure.
Oh, yeah. Nawrocki for Celtic, down the right for Johnston. Then onto the touchline it goes for Kuhn. Infield to McArdle. Inside channel, moves it into the central area for Bernardo, back to Nawrocki, switches it to Trusty, who now finds Forrest on this near side. Jinking in field and finding Bernardo, and back out to Schlupp on this left flank. Celtic are going to finish this game with about 70% of the ball. I think that's about their season average, 70-75. Kuhn picks up on the right, plays it back to Nawrocki. Low ball with the left out to Johnston over on that right flank. 1 minute of the stoppage is left. Kuhn dinks it in, headed away by Milne as Celtic look to finish with their 5th goal. And it's Kuhn on the right, attacking the box, finds Johnston, pulls it back, blocked by Milne again. He's actually done quite well since coming on.
Yes, he has. And to be fair, he's stuck at his task, and I think that's what you've got to do. And I think that could have happened a little bit earlier, because we've seen that with James Forrest at the start of the second half, was giving Graham Shinnie a bit of a hard time, you know. So to be fair to him, he's come on and done very well.
McArdle's ball into the box, a lovely turn, played across, Mitov doesn't get there, and the 5th goal goes in. Adam Ida gets it on the rebound. Ida touches it home despite Mitov's best efforts, and Celtic have a 5th at Pittodrie. They've run riot here in the northeast. It is Aberdeen 1, Celtic 5, and what a warning shot ahead of the Scottish Cup final this is.
Yeah, again, young McArdle plays a fantastic pass again. The keeper has a good save, but yet again, Adam Ida, to be fair to him, is on the move, but McArdle's first pass into Nicholas Kuhn, gets the shot away, good defending, but Adam Ida, as I say, gets between the sticks. You say he could have scored earlier, but he's there to knock it in, as all good strikers should be.
Adam Ida's 20th goal of the season. He's the third Celtic player to hit the 20 goal mark this campaign, and he's just rounded off the scoring. This game will now finish upon centre being taken. There is the final whistle, and Celtic have gone tonto here. The boos from the Aberdeen supporters. A timid performance from them tonight. Celtic dominated from the off. There was a little spell towards the end of the first half when Aberdeen equalised the Nawrocki goal through Nisbet. Yang restored the lead just before the break, before goals from McCowan, Kenny and Ida racked up a really handsome scoreline for the champions. And it wasn't their first choice 11. Indeed, Brendan Rodgers made 8 changes, no fewer than 8 changes to his starting 11. Yet they have eased past their Scottish Cup final opponents, who are going to have to do a heck of a lot of soul searching across the next 10 days to try and get into the mindset where they can go to Hampden and upset the champions, who have just put together successive 5-1 wins over the Dons, and that's not even their biggest victory over them this season. It finished at Pittodrie with Aberdeen's hopes of a top 3 finish completely vanquished. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 5.
For Ross